thank you so much for joining in. I would say let's start with you. So first of all, go ahead, go on chat and introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, where you are joining from, whether you are building a startup, whether you're an investor, whoever you are. Tell us about yourself and paste your LinkedIn profile while you're introducing yourself. So introduce yourself. That's a great way for everybody else to connect with you. This is a community, and we want it to be a connected community where everybody can feel welcome and they can share their ideas. We are starting with a keynote. Again, a warm welcome to Jacob. We'll be soon requesting him to join us. And after that, we have an ecosystem panel. So Klementina is joining us from west side of Sweden. And then we have social impact coming in with amazing experience from Sofia's time in building Reach for Change. So we'll learn about the organization. We'll cross over the border and learn about angel investing and building startups. Cross over the border again and see amazing work which is happening in deep ecosystems and how do they see Nordics and how do Dealroom see Nordics. So I think these are all perspectives which are coming in a few minutes. Going forward, we have a funding panel coming in from VC side. So Alliance VC is joining us, Spintop Ventures is joining us. Super thanks to all these amazing stars joining us today. You're also bringing in entrepreneur perspective, building startups perspective, building angel networks perspective, and then bringing deep tech, hardware focused innovation. How do you support that? And of course, Nino has been doing great work at Karaoke Club, already done some investments. So all this is coming, and then we have an amazing pitching jury session. I think we are already overclocking, but welcome, Anders. Philip is joining us. Henrik joins us. Henrik joins us from Nerd as well. So a common name over there. Ida will be there, and Jesse joins us, and so does Mekar, Per, lovable investor. And then Pia is also joining us from FemInvest. So all these amazing people are joining us for these panels. Sami works in media support to startups which are ready to fly, like a Red Bull of startup media acceleration. So we'll be learning about that. And Tina joins us from Finland. So that's about it for the evening's introduction. I'll stop sharing my screen and request Jacob to join me. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, and super impressive with all the great work you're doing. It's seems like the event every week, so it's impressive.
Amazing. Jacob, thank you so much. We are very excited that you could join us and we could learn from your experience. But before going into some of the themes of this event, a little bit of sneak peek about you and Luminar Ventures, if you would like to go there and introduce yourself.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, as you said, I'm one of the co-founders of Luminar Ventures. But my sort of journey started back in 1998, so in the previous millennium. I finished Chalmers, and as you know, back then, internet just happened. And everything was almost like it is today with AI. Like you could do so much new stuff that nobody could have done it before. So leaving Chalmers, I just had to sort of jump into the big sea and start my own company. So I almost started a company directly from school, and that was exactly when the 3G licenses were giving out or licensed out, and we jumped on that opportunity because we saw that this is a new marketplace that every people on the planet will have a mobile phone in their pocket and you can do so much cool stuff with it. So that was my first venture. We sold that to Ericsson, and then I started my second venture in the same sort of space. Ringtones and wallpapers and anyone that was around at that place at that time, those were the things you can do in your phone, and we were part of that ecosystem creating that entertainment. Then I was offered to work at Warner Music Group back in 2006. Music were being eaten alive by file sharing. Even my closest friend were stealing music. And we had if you remember the pirate party going bananas with votes of stealing music. So they needed someone that can come in and try to come up with new ways of both protecting the rights, but also monetize music in a new way. So I was part of a group of like 10, 15 people globally. Super challenging, of course, to try to change that sort of dynamic. Luckily, I was one of the first people that met Spotify, or they met us from the music industry, and I was the guy at Warner trying to figure out how we can leverage this great team and platform to distribute music and find ways to people to pay for music again. And luckily, we managed to do that. So I stayed at 9 years at Warner Music. It was a super interesting time and seeing transformation of an industry from the first front seat. Started to angel invest on the side back in 2008, 2009 because I saw this transformation will happen to many more industries than just music. Luckily, I was maybe lucky and then did some good investments. So I did 2 exits within the first 5 years, which then enabled me to leave Warner and then pursue an angel career, if you will. And at that time, I reconnected with Magnus Bergman, the co-founder of Luminar. And he was and is one of the most experienced angel investors from this region. So I hooked up with him. Then we realized there were too few. Now there are many more seed funds, but back in the days, there were very few seed funds here in the Nordics. So we decided to see if we can set up a seed fund together with back on sort of the experience we have of starting companies ourselves, angel investing in over 50 startup, and then take that into fund structure and help many more startups. So we launched the first fund back in 2018, and now we are on our second fund. These funds are 600 and 700 million crowns, and we invest in pre-seed and seed stage. Most of our team are previous founders, so we love to engage with funders in the earliest stages, and obviously not only invest money, but also a lot of our own experience from seeing and being part of so many amazing journeys, probably over 100 journeys at this point. So yeah, maybe I should stop there, otherwise we'll take the full time. But yeah,
No,
I've been in this industry for 25 years now. That's the gray hair and everything. Yeah.
But what an amazing journey. Early days of internet ringtones. Yes, that was a thing, and I think that has a connection with your music love. I think somewhere. So I think very interesting journey. Angel investing and lucky in 5 years, 2 exits, which helped you start working with Magnus, and then launch the Luminar as we can see Luminar Universe, for example. So it's Fund 1 and Fund 2. So great, and 100 startups you have supported in this journey. And my question is, like, you must have worked with a lot of founders, and you said that you work with money plus experience, like you enjoy working. So what kind of founders you like working with? Like, of course, there should be some preference. Like, which founders are easy to work with, for example?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And then maybe to sort of ask, and implicitly of your questions, so that when we do invest in this early, we invest in founders. Like we don't obviously they come and pitch their ideas, and that's a super important thing. But it is the founders and the founding team we are investing in 100%. So you need to connect with them. And for me, it is I want to find or work with people that are curious about new stuff and new technology. They obviously have to love technology. They should be quite broad in the technical curiosity. But then they have to sort of wake up and want to solve a problem, like a big problem, and there should be an itch scratching them all the time that they just need to solve this problem with technology. And you see that in their eyes, and people that meet me knows that I love to discuss and argue, and I want to have that kind of people that are challenging me, and I can challenge them, and we learn from each other.
Amazing points. And I think founders, you hit the nail over there. Like at early stage startups are all about founders, founding teams, their chemistry, their complementarity, how they kind of plug the holes in the startups by bringing different skill sets. So I think that's great. You also mentioned about they love tech, should be broad, should be curious. Curiosity is the basis of humanity, I think. So great points over there. In your view, you have been working in Nordics in Swedish ecosystem, in tech ecosystem. At one point in time, you said you were part of a very select 15, 20 people in the music space. So Nordics, when you see them, what in your opinion makes us unique? What defines us as an ecosystem?
Yeah, yeah, that was a good question. I think we have a good legacy of really strong entrepreneurs. We all know the IKEA and the H&M and Ericsson and back in the days, right? And then we had Spotify, Klarna, Izettle, King, Mojang. So I think we have it in our culture, and obviously from these kind of journeys, people that has been part of that want to exploit themselves. So you create an ecosystem of people leaving Spotify or Ericsson or Volvo to start so that's how you create an ecosystem. More specifically, I think also that we Sweden is a small country, right? And even the Nordic region is a small region. So you need to look globally very early on. You can't just solve a problem in your own home country and build a big company. You have to be thinking globally from the beginning. I think that's an important thing. I think from an infrastructure perspective, I think I grew up. I'm born in the 70s. I got my first computer like 84 or 85, and we had this kind of subsidy from the government with home PC. So my father brought home a PC when I was very, very young, right? And then we had broadband being sort of rolled out across Sweden very early on. And obviously there's dark winters here. So what you do with your computer and your broadband when it's dark and cold outside, yeah, you start to play with it, and you start to realize I can create games, and then you create like an interesting you create like an interest from that. So I think based on that, I think we've built a big generation of really strong engineers that have sort of propelled many of these companies. And that sort of just escalates over the years. Yeah. So I think those are some of it's infrastructure, is actually political decisions that drive some of that. And then you have the culture aspects, and you've been in school with maybe Daniel Ek, and he's not so much smarter than I was, right? And I can do it if he can do it. So you create that kind of mentality as well.
Well,
So
I think beautiful points, and I think the entrepreneur success, like the first generation entrepreneurs, then they go into a pay it forward mode. I think that's amazing. We knowing that we are not the universe, we actually need other markets to build our technologies that gives us outward focus to explore new markets, new regions, new languages, go there, launch, build, scale startups, come back, build more. So I think that's a circular effect that is happening in the Nordics. And you talked about I also come from 70s, so those 80s computers, that was a different ecosystem. I was not in Nordics in that time, but early access to technology, I think that is such an enabler, because then you can grow with it if you're too late with technology. So I think that's the similar thing that will be happening in the AI space. And that's tough, because you are on the forefront of startup trends, because venture capital is, of course, that there is innovation happening here, but then that innovation needs wings to fly, and they come to venture, and then they are exploring how to add money so that that innovation can fly. So what do you see with AI coming in? Are we in some sort of a shift as to how startups are built going
yeah,
forward?
yeah, yeah. No, I really believe so. And I wish almost like I was 20 for many reasons, perhaps, but
Me too.
a bit younger. But because nowadays, when you can start a company, you can scale it so much more efficient. Like when I started my company, like we needed to start writing code from scratch, right? We need to
Mhm.
have the servers on-prem, like in the office, and you have to build everything from scratch. Now, both generally everything, you have all the APIs, all the open source stuff, but now we add on AI and agentic systems, right? So you don't really need to scale your organization. You can sort of just leverage these tools and these systems to create your business. So obviously you need to have a core team. You have to be super talented, super hardworking, very broad in your perspectives. But then instead of hiring the first 10, 15 people, you should just look at what kind of tools, what kind of system can I use to create that, to solve that. So with that, you can scale a business into, as you can see with Lovable. I don't know exactly how many they are now, but I don't think they are more than 40 people or 50 people, and they have 120 million ARR, right? Euros, so dollars. It's crazy how you can scale with this technology. So yeah, I think the era of just adding tons of people into your organization is gone. Yeah, it's totally a paradigm shift of how to create your company.
Amazing, amazing. One last question from me, and that is, with a new breed of startups emerging, will the metrics also change how we measure startup success going forward? Is that happening? Is that creeping into discussions?
Maybe not metrics, but definitely they won't need to raise as much money as they. Obviously, if you're building a foundational model, then you have to have a lot
Mm,
of infrastructure. It's still very expensive.
yeah.
But you will be able to, in many of the services and companies, you can be profitable very early on, and then you can grow with that profitability, and then you can raise money at a position of strength, right? So it will change our industry quite a
Mm,
lot. And hopefully, and we were working hard to be able to add value, much more value than just money, and add help with this infrastructure, help to set up these kind of self-driving companies, so you can leverage all of this instead of just pouring in money into companies. So I think our industry is definitely up for a big change as well.
very interesting. I was actually just having a talk with Anders Nygren. He runs Foundry Ventures, and we were discussing like startups. Probably, we need to see which startups are AI native. Plus, also beyond the tech, how are startups themselves working?
Mm.
So that's an like, is the team using the technology well enough to be building the technology that they need to build and scale? So, Jacob, thank you so much for taking the time out and joining our event and giving it a flying start. And we'll try it flying from here onwards.
Yeah.
But
Thanks for having me, and yeah, love to come back.
awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. We'll now move to our next segment. I'll request our panelists for the next segment to join us. They can raise hand. So on Zoom platform, if you raise hand, it'll be easy for me to identify. So I'm already bringing in, let's see, Louise is here. So this is kind of a half-minute crossover time. So it'll take a minute for us to switch to the next session. Let's see. Hi, Louise. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Amazing, 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 amazing energy in the room so far. And let's see if we can request Klementina to join us as well. Hi, Thomas. Hi, Sofia. Just one more minute.
Hello,
I'm just...
everyone.
Hello. Hello. Great that you could make it. I'm just checking if Lorenzo is here as well. Then we are good to go. Let's see. Yeah, I see you, Lorenzo, and we'll have you here. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. This has been a very fiery start, I would say, but I like it. Like we have that energy. Startups and ecosystems are all about energy. We are energy sharing machines, helping each other grow. So really happy that you could join us. I would say we go around the room and have a quick introduction. So let me see if we can do this, for example. Alphabetically. So, starting with you, Klementina, tell us about yourself and your organization, a short introduction.
Thanks, Naimul. Hello, everyone. My name is Klementina Österberg, and I work at G Ventures at CEO. I've been here for many years, and I guess that my major interest in this field is meeting all the entrepreneurs and working with them with all the new ideas and helping them build the companies together with us. And we run an incubator, so we mainly focus in that incubator on finding new research ideas that our researchers at Gothenburg University has been working with. And together with commercial teams and commercial boards, we try to build new companies from those research results. And we also invest in these companies as well as try to find people to help them out and work very sort of coordinating this ecosystem in this. So I'm also actually chairwoman of an association where all the holding companies and these connected sort of actors connected to the academia work with these entrepreneurs. So we are actually 19 other actors together with G Ventures that will work across Sweden with the research-based academic results.
Amazing, Clementina. Thank you so much for your deep and broad work across the ecosystems. Love it. Louise.
Yes, my name is Louise. I co-founded my first edtech company with two co-founders back in 2006. We wanted to revolutionize teaching instead of old textbooks. And it became such a huge success that Bonnier, you all know Bonnier in Stockholm, that they purchased us in 60% of the company in 2015. And then part of the deal was for us to establish a subsidiary in Sweden as well. So we established Bonnier Education, and after 3 years, Bonnier bought the rest of the company. And since then, I've been primarily focusing on my business angel role and being a professional board member. I'm also an investor in the Danish TV show Løvens Hule, which is the name of Shark Tank or Dragon's Nested, as you have in Sweden. I've been sitting there in the board or in the panel for 3 years. Yeah, so that's what I do. I invest in startups today, but I've also done the journey myself from startup to exit. Without any investors, by the way. It was bootstrapped all the way.
Amazing. I think it's amazing. Like startups sometimes don't need external money. I think founders sometimes forget that because eventually you are building startup for customers, and if the customers love your product, maybe you don't need investors.
Yeah.
We'll keep that for interesting panel. But great to have your background, diverse background in terms of building, and then investing, and then also kind of helping startups fly with these. With the TV show that you mentioned. Nutty Ventures is working on a very interesting concept. We'll probably continue that discussion. But let's go to Lorenzo. Yeah.
Hi, yeah. Nice to meet you all. Yeah, I'm the head of research at Dealroom. So Dealroom is a global data platform for intelligence on startup innovation, tech ecosystem. So basically, yeah, we gather data about startups, their investment, their growth journey, And then we use this data and insights for visibility for actors such as governments, VC firms, and other investor corporates. We do work a lot in the Nordics with many partners in all the Nordic nations, from Business Sweden to Oslo Business Region to Innovation Norway to Danske Bank and so on. And yeah, we help them really keep track of what's happening in the ecosystem, drive decision based on that, and grow the ecosystem in a data-driven way.
Awesome. Great work at Dealroom, and great to have your research and analytical background in our discussion. Thank you, Lorenzo. Sofia.
Hi, Naimul. Hi, everyone. Nice to be here. My name is Sofia Breitholtz, and I'm the CEO of Reach for Change. And we're an organization that supports early stage social ventures. So social entrepreneurs, impact entrepreneurs who want to grow their venture, and we support them with incubator programs where we connect them to capital, access to network, but also help them really develop and build their business. Social entrepreneurship and impact entrepreneurship is quite tricky. Oftentimes, maybe your customer is not the same as the people who actually are benefiting from the service. So it can be a little bit of a different model. So we've been doing this for the past 15 years in both Europe and in Africa.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I love the focus of Nordics on impact, your focus on social impact, social entrepreneurship. I think these are great ways. Like building with purpose is so much better than building without purpose. So I think that's a no-brainer, and anybody working in that space is doing big work for the ecosystem. So Sofia, great work across all the Nordic and the global ecosystem in your case. Thank you. Thomas, over to you.
Hi, Naimul. Hi, everyone. My name is Thomas Kösters. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Deep Ecosystems. We are a global accelerator of ecosystems. That means we support the future of startup support and acceleration. We support the ecosystem leaders who create the new initiatives and scaled up initiatives to support founders all around the world. About 400 members, and we have built ecosystem hubs from Chile to Japan and also in the Nordics. So I'm happy to be part of this panel today.
Amazing. I love the work that Deep Ecosystems is doing globally, and I've been following your work. It's so much deep and so much impactful in so many ways. I remember when we had that impact, you had that impact hackathon when I was a table captain somewhere in one of the 4 sessions. So it was amazing initiative, and a lot of great ideas came out for Stockholm, for Nordics, and for globally as well in collaboration terms. So great work, Thomas. Let's kick off our panel discussions, and community here, you can post your questions and we can take them and try to blend them in. But my first question is that we are joining here from different perspectives. Some of us have built ventures, some of us are strong on purpose, different geographies, global perspective, all that is west of Sweden, investor focused, investor supporting startups. So all those perspectives, if we put together, what do we see? We kind of started the discussion with Jacob in our keynote. Like, what do you think defines Nordics, or what is something that we are great at from your perspective? So let's start there, and then we go to the opposite side in 5-7 minutes. And you can raise hand, or you can just open mic and start talking. It's very natural. It's totally okay. Yes, Klementina.
I think of one word spontaneously, and I guess that we're a very free place where I think collaboration is very easy. I hope that that's what entrepreneurs think. You could easily call anybody, try to connect a customer, and I can see that people help each other out in this in a collaborative way. What do you think?
Great free thinking start to the conversation. I love it. Like we are on the free track. Great. So free place for collaboration. You can easily pick up the phone and call. Yes.
I hope so. I don't know.
But it is, as I said, I've been an entrepreneur since 2006, and that was LinkedIn's earliest days.
Mhm.
So back then, it was much more tough, to get into contact with people who could, join the company or do something for the company. Whereas today, with LinkedIn all over, it's so easy to get good partners on board, or, helping each other. Or if you have any question, you can just, punch it in and you can get an instant answer. So I think today it's very, very much more easy to be an entrepreneur than 20 years ago.
Okay, so it's easy to be an entrepreneur, and LinkedIn has enabled it, tech has enabled it, and we are on the forefront of tech. If we go back to Jacob's conversation, I didn't know that much. Like in 80s, we had those computers coming in. So I think early technology exposure, we being adopters of technologies, adopting these platforms, that is leading us in the right direction, which kind of leads us to an open ecosystem. More
Yeah,
perspectives.
from a not Nordic perspective, what I find
Mm.
fascinating is like sometimes we say that entrepreneurship comes from like the need and not having even almost a safety net, this idea of risk. And in the Nordics, we have very strong like culture and of course very rich countries, very connected and they established industries, but you still see that people are really jumping in these ventures, innovative. And so it challenges a bit sometimes this notion of you need to have that drive that comes from the fact that you're not gonna put the food on the table unless you make it with your startup. But we still see people in the Nordics really jumping in all kind of projects, and we've seen a lot of great outcomes coming from the Nordics. So it's just a personal fascination with this kind of model that worked out well, and with the fact that really providing the inputs for people to really jump and have the safety net still worked out really well for the Nordics innovation.
Yeah,
Amazing. Words have a great impact. I just yes, Sophie. Words have a great impact. I like the word when we started talking about free, LinkedIn, and then your word jump. I think I actually see that there is so much jumping happening. And I think the safety net of CSN or state support, that is such a big base pedestal from which you cannot fall below. So you don't have a fall below kind of a feeling, and you can only fall above. So maybe you can fall upward, so not downward. So I think great point over there. Sophia, yes.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I would agree with everybody here. I think it's, I mean, both the safety net and the lack of hierarchy that, enables us to reach out and to make connections. It's a small market, so, you're always 5 degrees of separation or less. People, you can get introductions very, very easily. But I also think that sometimes we forget, and maybe Klementina can speak more to this, but there's a lot of investment that has gone into research, academia, innovation, and not just from the public sector, but also actually a lot of venture philanthropists and foundations and institutions that have been investing in this for years and years and years, which actually has proven to be a really good driver of innovation, which I think is super interesting. And if I would add something that I think is really exciting about the Nordics, it's also how we've tied the idea of sustainability very closely also to venture building and entrepreneurship. So you were talking, Naimul, about building things with purpose. I mean, that is a little bit in the DNA of a lot of the entrepreneurs that we have here, which I think is super exciting and something that others can maybe look to. There's weaknesses to this as well, but in terms of it being a role model, I think that's something that's really exciting for other markets to look at.
Can
Amazing
I also
point.
just add to that?
Yes.
Sorry, that maybe both from LinkedIn and this free sort of contact situation that you are sort of now more welcome today, if that's what we mean. I guess that it's a sign that it's more trendy. People everywhere in either the government or any other public sector or in the private industry, it's easier to connect because they think a startup and an entrepreneur is trendy. And it hasn't always been like that. So right now, I guess that it's like living everyone else's dream, sort of. That's what I'm saying. And just like Sofia is saying, there's also the other side of it, the more negative sides of it too.
Amazing. And we'll come to the negative side shortly. I've pasted your LinkedIn profiles here so the community can connect with you directly on LinkedIn for any conversations. But great points. Thomas, when you were here, you had that impact hackathon, right? Remember, and we you kind of brought all that energy into a single room with the bubbles of ideas. There were so many ideas coming into that. How do you see the Nordic ecosystem? From your side, you're a global organization.
Yeah, very good. First of all, yes, I mean, when we talk about the Nordics, for me, that was at that point Sweden, right? So I was in Sweden and I was working with the Swedish ecosystem. And it is indeed a bit the spearhead. No? So in Sweden, you have a very well-established startup culture and many success stories. If you compare then to the Nordics, and now we can discuss what that means, is that the Nordics in the old way, or is it the new Nordics, which includes the Baltics as they wish? But if you look at that, you not always have the same level of efficacy in the startup sector. So many other countries are maybe performing a bit under par in the region. So it's a diverse set of countries. And calling it the Nordics is politically, societally correct and interesting, but then for the startup scene, it doesn't feel that connected. Also, to be honest, alone between city and countryside in these regions, you don't necessarily feel such a strong connection yet. There's an orientation towards the world in Stockholm, I would say, that is similar maybe when you're in Slush in Helsinki. But then the question is a bit, how is this Nordic family relation that is maybe invoked by the name of the Nordic startup scene? How strong is that really?
Very, very interesting point, and that probably takes us to the other side of conversation. So we are great at rethinking diversity, at building companies. We have a pedestal where we can innovate up and not fall down. Lack of hierarchy, as Sofia was saying. So all these great points are here. But then you mentioned something very interesting, that not all countries may be running in the same at the same pace. So would be interesting to learn if there is some data over there. And also you mentioned something very interesting, which is the countryside versus the metropolises or the active cities, because that's how the network densities. So if we move to some of the things which need to be fixed. You said that we are probably not that Nordic. We still are very individualistic. So great. That's a great starting point. Yes, Louise.
Like, I'm from Denmark, and it's very hard to raise money from friends and families because of tax law, and we do a lot of lobbying. And always saying, look how they're doing stuff in Sweden. They have unicorns and everything. We want the same, but it needs funding and different ways of taxing, investment money. So I totally agree on Thomas's point of view that it's not the Nordics, it's the rest of us looking at Sweden. I want to be like that. Yeah.
Okay, so we have supported on that side. So Louise, thank you for backing that up and also mentioning a sticky problem in the Danish ecosystem. I hope that can be solved, because early stage startups are the lifeblood of innovation and how society will eventually progress in that ecosystem. One of the points that we have in Sweden, for example, is that startups are moving out. So maybe that is something we need to discuss. But what are some of the other things we need to probably fix in the ecosystem which could hyper accelerate us on innovation or impact purpose-driven venture creation? What are the gaps or sticky issues that we see in this ecosystem? Feel free to add.
But it's the same again. Like, it's very difficult to raise money if you're in Denmark and Sweden. The valuation gets higher if you are, speaking to American or British investors. So you're not incentivized to talk to local investors once you have a Series B and C and stuff like that. So we see it here in Denmark as well. It's very difficult to keep the huge companies at home.
I totally agree, Louise. I would exactly say that is a big issue. If we look at how much money is being invested in other parts of Europe, I guess that Scandinavia doesn't actually have that much funds. Why, of course, every entrepreneur that gets to a certain level, they want to go to the UK or actually to the US straight away. And unfortunately, it's also a bit harsh when a lot of business angels are working hard in the early stages, and it hasn't been so easy to do great exits, which means that their money is quite stuck in the ecosystem already in the companies. And if they can't do exits, they can't invest maybe that much. And as well as when the stock exchange has been going up and down and maybe a little bit more down than up, then they don't have that much funds. So I guess that when we look at the statistics, I'm from Gothenburg. We want to go to Copenhagen and to Stockholm. The people in Copenhagen and Stockholm, we want to go to London, and we also go to, of course, Switzerland, because that's also a place where you can find more capital. And the valuations, just like you said, Louise, is totally different. So one big issue is capital, and that's the downside of this free collaborational thing. How do we, as sort of ecosystem, help our startups to get funded?
But I think on the flip side of that, what's exciting about that, or that what it actually has stimulated, is that since the Swedish market is so small, and like even the Nordic market is quite small, it's this scaling mindset from the start, which we see a lot of the entrepreneurs that we support have, this kind of secret ingredient that they're immediately thinking scale, which I think is an exciting kind of thing, which maybe adds to why we have actually provided so many kind of unicorns. So that's a thought I had.
Absolutely. So when we I see the Nordics similar to places like Switzerland or in extreme Australia, and these places maybe they don't have the best domestic market to scale all the way, and typically these places also tend to have low share of domestic capital at the late stage. So if I look at the Nordics, something like Sweden maybe has a quarter of the late stage funding that is domestic. So 3/4 is mostly US or other places, while this is more than 50% at the early stage. So of course, you miss the big ticket, and this is typical of Europe overall. So not only the Nordics. Some region have a bit more than others, but it's a pan-European a bit problem. There's been a lot of discussion in unlocking pension funds, which in the Nordics are more active in the sector than in other parts of Europe, but there's still a lot more capital that would be needed if one wants to close, let's say, the late stage funding let's say gap. And in terms of the differences between nations, it definitely, Sweden is a bit in a league of its own. It's kind of been, I compare it often with Denmark, because I think that they should be kind of comparable in some way. And Sweden has created 2-3 times more value across most metrics. And then Norway is a bit behind Denmark, Norway and Finland a bit behind Denmark. So we see, these countries have some similarities, but there's also been a bit of a different type of growth. Of course, there's been some catching up in some of these countries and region. And when we look at capital cities versus the rest, it is to be said that tech is a bit sometimes concentrating. So, and this is across, nations, and the capital cities, only 2-3 more attractive cities tend to concentrate around 60% sometimes of the ecosystem, and we see something similar, across Stockholm, Copenhagen, and the rest. This doesn't mean that stuff are not happening in the rest, and there's a lot that is being built, different kind of ventures, but there's of course an attractiveness of the bigger hubs in some.
Very interesting points. I think we started with Louise. We started with your point of raising difficulty from friends and family as to how it works, and then we quickly jumped into funding as a major theme, and then we and Lorenzo, you're comparing, and I think other discussion from Klementina is also pointing to that, and from Sofia as well, like big ticket. That's where the problem is. Like when you are ready to scale, then you have issues with domestic capital. That's what I hear generally from it. And I think we had a very interesting point over here. Somebody was mentioning, do we need ecosystems that domesticate disruption? So that was, I'm trying to read a comment which has come out, or should ecosystem really be open and free where we started, because that maybe is the ethos of our ecosystem. But Sofia, you're working on impact, and Thomas, when you created that hackathon, that was also around impact. And Nordic seems to, let's say Sweden, or let's say Nordics, we seem to be a good place for doing impact. Is that enough? Are we still behind, or should we be saying, oh wow, we have over delivered our impact? What do you think?
No, definitely not. I mean, I think it depends on what type of impact you're talking about. So I think we've done well in stimulating kind of impact tech entrepreneurs, or entrepreneurs who are solving the large challenges that we have. I think if we go to more social entrepreneurs, grassroots entrepreneurs who are smaller, who are trying to create either some educational solution or some type of solution where maybe the municipalities is the customer, or the government is the customer, then we get into quite a lot of like regulatory issues and challenges, and a kind of a public sector which isn't as prepared always to take innovation risks and to partner. So I mean, Klementina was talking about collaboration, but here I think that there's a lot that we really need to do, especially in Sweden, to incentivize the public sector to actually make it easier for them to purchase services and products from these entrepreneurs that actually have great solutions. But there, ironically, we don't see such an appetite for risk or for actually using innovation to solve the big challenges we have today. So, and we have changing demographics in the Nordics. So here we're going to have to rethink how we actually do business with the public sector. That will be super interesting to see, and especially now when we are in this geopolitical challenges where we definitely will have to work closer with the public sector. We'll see how that pans out, but I think there's definitely things to do there to incentivize these types of collaborations here.
Great point on collaboration, and especially public sector. I think one of the fears that startups have when they are doing truly disruptive innovation, and in my time of coaching and helping startups, sometimes they are scared of going to public sector, of their idea being just assimilated in the public sector, and not getting benefit of actually being the drivers of that idea. I think you're absolutely right. Public sector can be a big driver for the next wave of impact that can be created, but we need to kind of make it happen in some way, because the current systems will not go there. Like, let's go one more point forward and try to understand what are some of the key trends that you see across global ecosystems, or generally how ecosystems should be heading in, because global climate, consumer climate, because consumers are eventually customers for all the startup innovations that is happening. How are or should ecosystems be evolving going forward? For example, technology is changing in a rapid way. AI is coming in. how would these externalities have, what kind of externality effects can we see in ecosystems, and how should Nordics get better prepared to become a more, let's say, stronger ecosystem?
Well, it's a big question because there's a lot of geopolitical things going on and at the moment. As Sofia mentioned, the public sector needs to be more ready to test new stuff in the welfare sector, but also in defense, I think. It's very, very important as the world looks like today. But it's very difficult, I think, because we are going from being a global world, thinking global, but we are more and more regional now. So there's a shift going on at the moment, as I see it.
That's an amazing point. Like the global trend is going to, like, we created the entire globalization engine, and suddenly that globalization is stalled right now, and we are trying to become more regional, more local, more national, within national, polarized. So I don't know how that is going to be. But you also mentioned something very interesting, because that is probably can be a vertical learning from it. You talked about defense tech. We actually were having a connect meeting yesterday with the board on strategy, and we were discussing, should we enter defense tech, for example, because we don't have a collaborative ecosystem for that in Sweden in a big way. So maybe something, but what else do you think? So I think that's a great point, like how global waves are impacting ecosystem building going forward.
I think that maybe one of the challenges we have is exactly this verticalization in the innovation space. We see with maturity of the startup scene, we see a wish to have a seat at the table from various actors, and they look for, the green field kind of way and say like, okay, let's verticalize, let's approach it from a different angle. Yet, if we look at disruptive innovation, it does not feel like it comes necessarily from vertical pockets. It doesn't feel like that the big changes in the industry came from, okay, that was like a cluster of a certain vertical. Now, if you take out, let's say, the big IT world. But so my feeling is, if we are now creating processes and startup support and investor networks, etc., very much focused on sectors. If we are focusing more on creating suppliers that never will scale, that are of a certain size, bringing some university invented technology to the market, exiting early, selling products to one or two clients, rather than having like really disruptive companies that redefine industries. And often those disruptors, they come from outside the already defined industry. A pure AI company now that comes from the AI world and brings that innovation to a broader set of contexts, different industries, and provides a capability that allows to do business in a different way, is a much more interesting case for a successful scale-up or startup than if you say, okay, I have now an innovative supplier for the automotive industry that makes the radio a bit more fun to play with, just to be extreme. And I feel like we have that tendency to think very much in boxes, and very much, I always say the Germans brought this upon Europe, that we always define processes and say it has to work from A to Z. It's a university student who learns about a technology, goes out of university, goes to an incubator, starts a company, raises funding, becomes successful, is a unicorn. And I think that narrative is very, very wrong and very, very bad. And I wonder how we get out of that trap, because we push a lot of funding into this kind of logic. And if we are honest, that is not the best practice.
Very interesting point there, because you're saying like vertical versus horizontal, like ecosystems probably, and probably that goes back to the point where we started, like free. The free was the first word entering the room, and probably that freedom is needed. And I think the global ecosystem itself is becoming choked by becoming regionalized, country specifics, and all that, and that then is leading to different ways of creating ventures and verticals. So very interesting.
I like the
influence.
idea that Thomas has, that there's this recipe that everyone follows, but if you look into the great success, they're not using this recipe. They're doing different stuff. Like, for instance, I was studying history when founding Clio and inventing EdTech in Denmark. We wanted to do teaching in a different way. None of us were teachers. So we were like someone from the outside looking at the problem or the industry. So it wasn't this linear thing, this recipe that Thomas is talking about. So sometimes try something different. Yeah.
Yeah. I also think, like Louise was talking about in the beginning, that there's not like a one recipe either on how you scale. So, taking an external capital, and I mean, that's maybe not for everyone in that sense. I think it's also you really have to adapt to the situation and you're in, and especially if we go back to the context where we're in now, where there is less of a risk appetite for investing right now. Because we're in very uncertain times, then I think it's time to maybe look at other models of scale, other models of collaboration. I think we're going to see many more kind of also joint ventures and bundling of services and these kinds of things. And that's because we live in a complex world today, right? So we have to find other kind of ways of doing business. Especially to build the resilience that we need also as a society.
Amazing points. Like and totally agreed that we live in a complex, changing world, which means different and new ways of collaborations. They need to evolve. I think it's not an ecosystem. A purely startup ecosystem based thing, but we are seeing that we have global ecosystems like United Nations exists, that ITI is as a master ecosystem of countries, for example, and these organizations, and they were created in times where realities and the pace of movement was much different. Right now, the pace of movement is a 200-character tweet has a stronger impact than 20,000 pages of legal text somewhere else. So that's the pace of movement of decisions and how things are happening. So ecosystems cannot be dormant, cannot be slow anymore. They need to evolve. They need to evolve at the pace of tech and the way things are moving across the world. So very interesting points. We would like to now move to our next panel. What an amazing conversation we have had. A big thanks to all our panelists, Louise, Klementina, Thomas, Lorenzo, and Sofia. Thank you for taking the time out for this amazing conversation. A lot of learning notes which will be shared with all our community going forward. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
We'll request our next panelists to join us now, and previous panelists, if they want to come back and stay in the event, they can join back as well. That's always a possibility. Let's see. So we'll request our next panelist to join in. It'll take us like 1 minute to switch to the other side. So we're coming. So I see you, Finn, over here. Finn, welcome. So I'm gradually going to bring everybody into the room now. Let's see, just one more second. Let's see if Nino is here. Yeah. Hi and welcome. Hi, Nastaran. Hi, Arne. Hi, Nino. What an amazing background. You're sitting in sun, somewhere. Where is sun right now? I'm sitting in a cold room right now.
Naimul, you'd have to move to Malmö. The sun is always shining here in Malmö.
Yay! Amazing, amazing. Just 1 minute. Let's see, who are we missing? Okay. I'm just going to see if... Amazing. Hi, Finn. Thank you so much for being here. Hi, Anette. Hi, Nastaran, Nino, and Arne. Let's rock the day. First of all, a big thanks for joining the Nordic Startup Festival. It's a yearly thing that we do at Nutty Ventures to kick off the fall season. So really happy, really honored that you could take the time out to join us. If we could go around the panel and have a short introduction. So this is a panel about startup funding in Nordics. What are the trends? How should founders better prepare themselves to raise capital? And then after this panel, we'll have a pitching panel going forward. But in this panel, we'll be focusing around raising capital. So if we go around the table, short pitches from everyone or short introductions. Anette, let's do it alphabetically. So Anette, if we could request you to go first.
Thank you for having me here today. It's very interesting and I really appreciate the panel. I'm Anette Nordvall. I'm a venture partner and LP with Butterfly Ventures. This is our fourth fund. We invest in early stage deep tech, I would say. The nerdier, the better. We also have an Article 8 attached to our fund, which means that we are looking into sustainable changes and specifically industrial sustainable shift for a better future, I would say. My focus has been and are on water and food and air quality. So I think that's the main reasons for us to be able to stay on Earth. We have a 50 million euro fund, and we're thinking we will do about 25 to 30 investments with this fund. The first initial ticket is up to 500,000 euros. And it needs to be seed stage. So not too early because we're ending to our fund and we have a close-end fund that was close in 32. So we have about 5-6 more investments to do in this fund until we start. We're already starting to do follow-ons. Butterfly Venture is a Nordic Baltic fund. So we look into Nordic Baltic innovators and especially science-driven innovation, I would say. And this is a very interesting the topic to me. I don't know if we should continue to say what we see in the bubble. Maybe I should let the other ones introduce themselves and then we go to the next level.
Awesome. Thank you, Annette. You're operating in the Nordics and Baltics and still have 5 or 6 more startups that you can have in your fold going towards. So and science first. I'm having a chat tomorrow with Planet A. They are also science first in a different place. So it'll be interesting to see what we derive out of today's conversation. But thank you, Annette. Let's move to Alliance Ventures. So Arne, over to you.
Yeah, hi everyone, and thank you for having me. So I'm Arne Tonning, partner at Alliance VC. We are also a Nordic fund. We have team members on the ground in Oslo, Stockholm, Copenhagen, and Helsinki. We are an early stage tech VC, so it doesn't have to be science-based, although we have some of those in the portfolio as well. I guess we are focused on ambitious founders and the opportunity they're pursuing and using technology to pursue that. We in early stage to us means that we cover everything from pre-seed to A. Our ticket size is $500,000 to $2 million or euro approximately, and average initial investment is 1. Has historically been, and we can and will lead rounds when they're in our sweet spot. We're sort of reasonably dynamic around size and ownership, but it has to be meaningful. And we typically work with the founders on follow-on funding, market expansion, that sort of thing. I'd also say that we announced a new fund 2nd of July this year. So we have like a full chamber of shots to fire. And so far, no targets formally hit. Although I would say that we have signed the first term sheet and we're very close to deploying the first capital in that fund. And probably should have done last week already, but we're very close to at least having one of the portfolio holes filled. But we still have many to go over the next few years.
Anne, thank you so much for the introduction, and great to have a big round of applause. We have fresh capital available for startups, so great to have that kind of news coming. Norcand's news came out as well yesterday, so I think it's great to have capital coming in because startups need breathing space to grow and prosper. And great that you have 4 places in Nordics covered, like Oslo, Stockholm, Copenhagen, and Helsinki, 500,000 to 2 million. Great coverage over there. Finn, let's move to you.
Thanks. And so I'm Finn, and pleasure to be here. Great to see quite a number of familiar faces on the panel as well. Great to see you all. I'm Finn. I'm the partner and co-founder of Spintop. Spintop is an early stage software tech VC that's been around for 15 years. We invest in software-powered tech companies with positive sustainable impact as well. So it's tech first, but also it's also a requirement that also have a positive sustainability impact. We like Alliance. We invest across the Nordic region and have presence in all 4 Nordic countries with a distributed team. We have 200 million euros under management and have quite some fresh powder in our current fund, but we'll also at some point in time, formally launch our next fund to continue to do what we do. It's something I think that a little bit of an important characteristic with Spintop is that the senior team has quite some mileage in the tech industry before we became VCs. So that's a team of ex-founders and executives that has built and scaled international tech companies before we turned over went over to the dark side and making investments.
And that's great from the founder's perspective, Finn. Thank you so much for sharing the background. What kind of value add can be there from the venture side when you're taking this? So because it's not only the capital that will solve your problems of growth. So and those are good problems to have, growth problems, because then you're moving the right things. But great to have that kind of experience. Nastaran, over to you.
Thank you so much. Really glad to be here. So thank you so much for having me here as well. My name is Nastaran Baleng-Soultani, and I have 2 hats, I think. One is being the co-founder and partner of RadCap, which is an investment company where we invest in early startups. Our requirement is that it is minimum 50% founded by women, the initiative and the company. And we are industry agnostic, so we invest in everything. However, it needs to have some kind of social or climate or impact on our world and society. We have 81 investors in our company, and we try to, I think the benefit that we come with and that we add is that we really try and use our entire network to open doors, to make sure we help out as much as we can, because we have women all over Sweden and also elsewhere, many different nationalities, many different industry backgrounds. So we try to help out where we can. And since we have people in more or less every industry and every field, we usually have someone who can help. So that's how we try to help. So that is one hat. And the other one is that I'm the CEO of BlueRedGold, which is ag tech company, where we are using vertical hydroponics cultivate saffron that we provide to the nutraceutical and food industry. So we just closed around the summer of approximately 30 million SEK. So I have the experience of both raising but also investing. So that has been a humbling experience to be on the other side, I have to say.
Amazing. I love it that you wear both hats. Like, it's great to have that kind of experience, especially very recent raise for the startup that you're in, and the hyper accelerated growth that you have had in your investor network. I've actually seen it from the ecosystem side growing like phew, it just went it faster than Ferrari. So great to have that kind of experience in the room. Nino, over to you.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me. I'm Nino. I'm from an investment company called Karaoke Club, and that is pretty new, and probably don't know about us yet. But we're coming out of stealth mode. I've done 6 investments so far this spring, doing friends and family rounds or first check, which is what we're doing, and doing 50 to 100K tickets. Sector agnostic, can invest all over the world. Of course, have a Nordic focus then. Yeah, just looking for the best founders out there, looking to like build something great. And yeah, so on top of that, we're running something called Mashup, which is a community and where we gather the best founders and investors in the Nordic and beyond to come to our events where they get to know each other. And some of you maybe have been there already, and or at least I know we have people from Alliance. Henrik is always there, and Sami, of course, from Spintop, always present. So yeah, that's me. Yeah, background. I'm a founder. I used to be running startups myself, and now I'm on the other side.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Nino, for the great work that you are doing in the ecosystem through several ecosystems. So that's great to know, and the founder background, and then kind of focused on helping best founders build great things. I think that's a great vision to be there. But let's start with our first question for the panel, and that is generally for the ecosystem. What do you think is kind of from the founder side? Because founders are always building and then raising capital. Those are sometimes 2 tracks, 2 separate, equally intensive tracks. You need to build and you need to raise, and build and raise. And so there's a lot of pressure on founders. How are the things from the investment world right now? What's the investment appetite? How easy or difficult is it to raise at early stage? If we talk super early stage, like pre-seed, seed. Do you see any differences in certain stages, like maybe very early is easy and slightly later is? So what do you think? You have recently raised a round. So let's have some perspectives, and feel free, it's a free-flowing discussion. Anybody can start.
Okay, I'll start because I like to start. So
Okay.
really nice to meet all you guys on the panel. Several of you we've met before. I think that it's more of fundraising now. You really need to there is so many hypes that it's hard to understand where the hype is actually hyping. So it's more of like everyone who's fundraising today needs to do some homework on how to both raise capital, but then also to understand that it's not 120 calls that you need to do. It's the right calls that you need to do, the ones that you're meeting, and then also ask for introductions and so forth if you know anyone. But it needs to be in your field, because you're wasting so much time emailing and contacting and hunting people down that are not really applicable for your industry. So I think that's the first thing, to be a little bit street smarter when you're doing it. And then also contemplate if you really need to raise money, because you forget usually to sell the stuff that you have. And then also to understand that there needs to be an exit somewhere for the ones that are coming in, even though it's early angel investing. I've been a tech investor for over 30 years. I mean, this is the same story coming back all the time. It's no new news here. But it's more of doing your homework, and then also understanding that it is sort of a dating game, but it's also a marriage that you go into. So it needs to be really prepared that you want to work with the person with the money, and they have more money than just one, 100,000 krona or something, and they need to have more. So that's sort of my first.
Very interesting point. Do you need to raise first question, and then don't just spray out there.
No.
Think quality. So do your homework. So great points to start with. More perspectives.
But if I go next, just I mean I agree with Anette, but I think two important things. One, there is capital, has always been, there will be capital for really good companies, period. I'm a little bit I've been in the market for a while, like Anette. I think this is a difficult market, this is a good market. There is capital out there for really good companies.
Yeah.
However, venture investments is not for all companies. Going back also to the really, so there is plenty of capital out there for the really good companies. That doesn't mean there is capital out there for all companies.
Okay, that's a very interesting point. There's capital out there for really good companies. Let's define a really good company. So maybe let's open that part for the panel. What is a really good company which can raise? Because you also said venture is not for every company. So, okay, what is a really good company and which falls into venture criteria? Let's discuss that.
Yeah, does someone else want to take that?
Yes.
Give it towards Arne.
Okay, so I can say like the definition of a really, really good company is one with very fast growth and lots of traction in a huge TAM. So then you're in sort of no-brainer land. And that's a really, really good company. And if you're that, you can always find money. But I would redefine it a little bit and saying it's microclimate oriented. So if you say the market overall, I've been in venture for a decade and a half. It's marginally above average over a 15-year period on average. But it's never been so asymmetric as it is today. And asymmetry is these microclimates I'm talking about. So it's probably easier than in most markets to raise a pre-seed this market, but it's harder than it's probably ever been to raise an A.
Yeah.
It ebbs and flows between the geographies, and it ebbs and now it's super trend oriented around AI. And if you're not in AI, and so it depends a lot on your traction, your category, your stage, and your geography. But on average, it's pretty good.
But vertical also, depending on, that's where we want science also. So it becomes a little bit more complicated, underlining, innovation rather than just using ChatGPT and other ones to solve one marketing problem. So it's a complicated market also as an investor to navigate in, because there is so many options that looks and feels right, but then when you start to work it becomes very complicated. So then on the other hand, it feels nice to use AI in an industrial innovation, because then you know that you have some hardware to cling to. I don't know. That's my sort of process.
But that's a very interesting point. So we started talking with venture. I first would like to go to Nastaran. You recently raised. How difficult was it? A very open question.
I would say it was difficult because, as Anette pointed out, you need to have the contacts, because no one replies to just emails, or very few do. So I think you need to have warm leads is a good way of actually getting a chance of pitching your case. But the other thing that I really discovered was that I would say that the bars have raised in terms of DDs and how much investors request. So a pre-seed round might require the seed DD. The seed round might require an A-level DD. So I felt that the DD was much more extensive than it previously would have been for the same stage. So I think that's a different thing. But I think in the end, it's all about having the right, you have a pie chart, and if you have the right pie pieces in the chart and you can present that, investors will be willing to invest. But I think the complication is that there are a lot of companies struggling. So if you have a portfolio, you tend to go in and also save the companies that you have. So you do have higher requirements and demands on the new investments that you do. And it also depends on where you are in your fund, of course. So I would say it wasn't easy. It wasn't as easy. I think 2021 was much easier than it is now. Doesn't mean money can't be found, but you need to work harder and you need to, I think, prove more and you need to have much better network or use your network in order to get there.
Very interesting points. Work harder, prove more, and use your network. Because network size itself should not be, as we started discussing, like it's not the spray network that we are talking about. So the quality of network is important. So
Yes.
very interesting points. You know, you are running a karaoke club. What's your model? Are you also, if I go back to the points that I've taken, it's 4 pages now. Arne's point here, like fast growth, huge traction. Are you also looking for that? How do you invest? Like, what's your model like?
Yeah, our model is to identify and find the best people who we think can build great things. And how do you find great founders? Like, that's super hard question to answer if you don't have a lot of traction. But like with AI now, what's happening? So one thing I see from our perspective is that we see more and more great founders, second time, third time founders who've done great things before, who start companies, who go on and raise small rounds. And they raise 100, 200, 300, 400K and optimize for speed. And they would love to have us on board. And then we also bring in our LPs or great angels or exited founders and other people who are amazing to have on board in super early. And then they go out and build. And what we can accomplish today with 3 or 4 people or 2 people is unheard of. Like, and then that's like we needed maybe 10, 15, 20 people a couple of years ago to do the same things. So that's where we see a great change, that a lot of founders are looking for super smart capital very early to be able to test something. And that is our bet, that they will find something. Of course, they don't have product market fit from the get-go, but it's also like no excuse not to have some traction in the beginning. Like if you come to us and say, I know we haven't talked to users, like that's super crazy, or we most of them have some traction when they have start selling something, so, and that is quicker than ever they can get to that stage. And how many websites, like everybody here looking at startups, how many websites today are not built in Lovable? They look like they look the same almost, but yeah, you can come quite long right now with very little resources. So that is like turning, I think, a little bit everything upside down, and I don't know. Yeah, I'm glad that we are here where we are and like what we're optimizing for. I'm super happy, and we're going for a lot of shots on goal, a lot of investments. We're looking to do 20 in a year. We've done our first close in 1 month, and we're going to raise some capital now in the fall from hopefully amazing LPs who wants to support us. And we're not going for a huge first fund that will take us like 2 years. So we're optimizing like a startup founder. We started to invest directly, and now we have a portfolio, and then we're going to just keep on investing until we get to a place where we have a really, really nice portfolio, 20 top companies in the Nordics. And then let's see if we start a new AB, like an investment company again, or if we go for a fund. Let's see what happens. So that's a little bit of everything what I wanted to say today. So I don't know if it really connects to the question again, Naimul.
No, I think it's great. Yes, Anette. Yeah.
No, but I think that Nino is on it. It's not about how much you fundraise. It's that you fundraise smart, because it's becomes a discussion of dilution, and it becomes what are you going to use the money for? How long is the run for the money? And if you can sell stuff that meanwhile, then obviously the length of using funds will become more incremental. And I think you need to think in increments before, and then also have some really deliverables that are valid for anyone to actually follow through on the investment. Usually we do a commitment And then we said, well, and with an option to add additional money within X amount of months, and that could be 18 to 24 months, just to make sure that we actually are participating in a growing company, so that they have the path that they are thinking of. So understand also that we're not here to support your salaries and lifestyle. We're here to support your growth of your venture. And I did answer one of the questions here in other people's money are very expensive, and it's expensive for you as well. So it becomes a lot of headaches if you're not delivering the way you should. So it's, but it's an interesting world to fundraise in. Like as I think Finn said too, there is money out there, and Nastaran, you said the same thing. There is money if you have a good venture.
So I think that sets the basis. I think that there is money for good ventures, and then we started defining good ventures. We somewhere discussed a little bit that AI is kind of creeping in. Are there any other areas or verticals which are hot right now in the Nordic space, which you think kind of attract you in your particular space? Like, for example, in RadCap, what are you investing in? Or is everybody just on the AI bandwagon right now?
No. I think also bringing stuff home to Europe.
Okay.
Making sure that we have sustainable, which we don't, because there's a lot of ventures that are, or services that we purchase today that are non-European, that there is no option in Europe either. And we need to make sure that it's a very strange world that we're living in. So even if you support dual tech or whatever, you need to make sure that we also bring stuff home that are on regular security level.
But there is a paradox here, which I think is quite important to understand also for founders. I mean, building, even in the days of AI, certain things goes a little bit faster, but it still takes, if you're going to build a really good, fast-growing company, it still takes, 8-10 years typically. The VC fashion cycle is 18 months, at best 24 months.
Yeah.
That means that you will, most of the time with your startup, you will be out of fashion. And what does that mean? That actually means, it doesn't mean that you should change the strategy of a company every 18 to 24 months to please the investor community. You should stay true to what you're doing, recognizing that and focus on the fundamentals, recognizing that you may have a strike of luck, and for a period of the lifetime of your company, you will be, in the kind of bullseye of the fashion cycle. Most of the time you will not. So focus on what you're actually doing, focus on the value you're actually delivering to your customers, focus on addressing a market opportunity that's sufficiently big so it can deliver, the returns that your investor want to see. I mean, that's super boring, because I can promise you, in 18 months, something else, will be on top. And also be aware, even if it's, really hard work to raise funds, and even if there is money out there, for great companies, it's still hard work, as we've discussed. But also think the other way around, do your due diligence in your investors. I mean, look at their history, Have they had, the same investment strategy for the last 5 years, or have they changed 3 times? Maybe then you should be a little bit kind of, and think about also what you want. I mean, do you want, really kind of super active support, at an early stage, and then, help you to raise the next round, and then, you bring in someone else? Or do you want someone that is with you for the long term, with a long-term perspective and with plenty of follow-on capacity? There's nothing right or wrong, but really think through also what type of, because an investment, I think, again, you said that, and it is much more than money. It's really kind of, it's a partnership or a marriage, or it's just, it's, situational dating for a while, resolving some short-term needs on both sides, and that's it. I think that's important also to think through.
No, but I think it's more on the network too, that we invest with each other. So we have done over 100 new investments obviously we've been round the block for several other rounds with a lot of different ventures, and we're hoping to do maybe something with Alliance in the future, or with Spintop, of course, because of the next level where they do invest. So it's always understanding the network that it works. And we talk to each other too. So it's like referring, if you can't do it, then maybe you push it to someone else that you know are more in your area. So every meeting that you do that has a valid venture, ask for advice or ask for introductions, and say maybe you don't have time to do it from the VC side, but don't forget to ask.
I think those are amazing points, and I think very interesting point, Finn, that you made, and also Annette. It's a lot of onus on the founder side as well to do, as we were mentioning. Like, there's a lot more due diligence happening. So founders also need to do a lot of due diligence from their side. They need to know how investment works. If you don't know, you cannot take it as a casual step for your startup. It won't work. You might end up with somebody who you cannot work strategically, and maybe they don't have capacity to follow on. So all those are important things. Really good point. Arne, you have capital to deploy. What kind of startups are you looking for that kind of capital?
Yeah, so I think, there was this discussion about AI and can we do fashion cycles, or do we look at fundamentals? And I think it's a little bit of both, to be honest, right? So we've deployed capital in AI for a decade now, but it's different incarnations of AI, and it's viewed through the lens of where do you solve big problems, right?
Okay.
And that sort of speaks to what Finn talks about. So we're technology investors, but why do we invest in technology? Well, because technology is the best change maker, and when the rate of change is the biggest, you can change things faster and solve problems bigger. So I do believe that AI is like the productivity driver number one, probably of this decade and possibly ever, we don't know. But that doesn't mean that we can just deploy in a bunch of companies that just build on top of a foundation model that some American company has built. So there needs to be a value layer beyond that. So now we're back to the fundamentals. So one thing we've invested in now, for example, is robotics, and will increase. And what is robotics this time? Well, it's like hardware plus AI and new, everything that goes into automation, and the world is big and needs to be automated, and there's a lot of value to take. But I think the timing for investing in that is very good, and it's good because of the rapid rate of change for AI in that space. And so that's something more fundamental and more value than just a chatbot, for example, if it's just built on top of something else. So I think much more in the fundamental terms of where is the current wave of technology addressing real problems and then time it right. And it's more than what's the fashion this year, but it can build into that accumulates year after year. So we are super interested in the AI wave, but it's kind of applied to a bunch of problems.
Very interesting point on anchoring things on problems, on fundamentals. I think that's a great point to take home from this panel. We would like to thank all the amazing panelists who joined us for this panel. We'll move to our pitch panel now. So Arne, Anette, Nastaran, Finn, and Nino, thank you so much for bringing so many diverse and deep perspectives to the conversation.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us, and thanks to the audience.
Enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you. Thank you. Amazing. Now we are moving to our pitching segment now, and we'll request some of the startups, and we'll first request panelists to join us. So give me a second and we'll fix this now. So if the panelists can raise hand, it becomes very easy for me to, let's say Ida is here, so I'll go one by one. Hold on, I lost. So this will take a minute, and then we are into the session moving. Let me just go back here a bit. Hi, Ida, how are you? Hi, Henrik. Amazing to have you here. Well, just give me a minute. We are just filling the room with all the great investors and startup mentors we have here. Let's see. This is going to be a very rapid fire kind of a session. We typically have been doing with Nutty Ventures. We have done like up for 3 years, we have run 2-minute pitches, but this year we have used a format of 3-minute pitches. Let's see, Jesse, if you are here as well. Okay, Mekar and Per. Awesome. Pia and Rita. Just a minute. We were having a very interesting conversation right around AI a little while ago and startup fundamentals. That came out quite well. We'll see how our list for today is in terms of startups and what are they building. It'll be interesting to understand. Let's see if Tina is also here. I just need to see if I missed somebody, but first of all, a big thanks to everybody for being here. Hi, Anders. Hi, Philip. I'm just checking, doing a quick check if I missed anybody. Maybe no. So Anders, Philip, Henrik from Node and Henrik from Alliance, Ida, Jesse, Mekar, Per, Pia, Rita, Sami, and Tina. Thank you so much for being here today. We can start with a quick introductions round. Before I do that, I'll paste everybody's LinkedIns here so people are in our community can also connect with you. So that will be a great offline way of making it happen. But great. Let's go. Let's have a quick introduction from everybody, like around 30 seconds. Tell us what you are doing in the ecosystem, what kind of angel network or venture capital base you represent, and how you help founders. So starting alphabetically, Anders, if we start with you.
Hey everyone, Anders Nygren from Foundry Ventures, and thanks Naimul and the team for having us. Really looking forward to this. We are a recently newly started VC, about a year old. We are pre-seed investor, focusing only on what we call then sort of AI native startups. So we're looking for companies that are building a product on the back of this generation of AI, solving a problem that was really hard to solve before, but then also teams that are fundamentally planning to scale their company and build their operations AI natively as well. So we think there's a lot of value for customers to be created in that intersection, and that's where we focus. 7 investments so far, capital still to deploy, so meeting as many founders as we can.
Awesome. Anders, thank you so much. We recently had a talk on AI, full talk. It should be coming out. I'm still late on that, so maybe by Friday we can hit that. So once that comes out, I think it's a very interesting treasure trove of information on how to build AI native companies, as Anders was saying. Philip, over to you.
Hi everybody, Philip Willigultegin, an angel investor in Stockholm. So my background in sales and commercial roles in really different domains across telecom, automotive, and IoT. I focus on early stage pre-seed, seed, particularly B2B startups to really help them with the commercial and the go-to-market perspective. I do the investments with my wife, so we also focus on life science and biotech companies where her expertise is regulatory affairs. Beyond that, I'm also part of a couple of different angel investment companies together with, in one of them we're about 40, in one of them we're about 27 angels, Wicked Angel and Seedbridge Capital. So really, I left the corporate world and really enjoying the startup ecosystem. So nice to see everybody.
Awesome. Love it that you are loving the startup ecosystem, Philip, and paying it forward. Henrik Telving, so from Node, over to you.
Thank you, Naimul, and thank you for having us and me here. So nice to see, even if I can't see all the entrepreneurs behind the desk, I know all the tired heads and tired eyes at this moment. So we're also one of the newest VCs in the Nordics, I guess. We're a bunch of ex-founders ourselves. So we started a couple of companies, both deep tech companies and more, you say, B2C companies. We decided that the Nordics really needed a VC with strong founder backgrounds, so that we could really help our portfolio companies. So we started out 2022 raising capital, knowing all the hard stuff in that. Finalized that one and was investment ready 2023. Started doing investments 24. Have now made 11 out of approximately 25 investments. So we operate the Nordics. We have colleagues now both in Copenhagen, Finland, Oslo, but most of us are based in Stockholm. We're sector agnostic. We operate from pre-seed up to Series A, and we love founders. We love problem solving. Looking into the eyes of all of you entrepreneurs with great visionary things. You can't see any obstacles at all. We love that one. So if you like to meet founders who has been in your shoes, we're here for you. Thank you.
Awesome. Love that energy and love that thinking. Like love the founders, love the problem, love the way you are building stuff. Henrik, thank you so much. And now, Henrik, Alliance VC.
Hello, everyone. So I'm Henrik from Alliance. We're a Nordic venture fund, people across all the major Nordic countries. We just raised a new fund of 40 million euros. So we're looking to invest with fresh capital. We've invested in more than 40 companies over the last 10 years. Some of them are Lightbringer, Encore, Superside, and 1X in the Nordics. 6 partners, equal partnership, and you always talk to a partner in the first meeting. That's the way we are 3 ex-founders that was CEO and raised capital in the last 10 years, and that's how we found to have the best discussions when we were out raising. Invest mostly at seed, but also pre-seed and Series A. Very much a traditional VC looking for great founders and founding teams that want to build something that's really impactful internationally.
Amazing to have your focus from pre-seed to Series A, as you're saying, and great to know you have 40 million euros here. So it'll be amazing. We love fresh capital coming into the market, so it'll be interesting to see how your portfolio builds up with the new fund. Thank you, Henrik. Let's go to. I'm just trying to have a quick message for the startup. So I've pasted a flow of startup pitching. So startups that have been pre-selected for pitching, loved by AI, Veriment, that's the order that we'll be going into. So you can prepare your screens. We'll start inviting you in a couple of minutes. But let's go to Ida.
Hi everyone, I'm Ida and I run the investment companies Skåne Ventures and Fast Track Capital based in Malmö, and we invest in companies from the startup houses of Mink, Ideon, Hedge and Crinova here in southern Sweden. And I usually say that we invest pre-seed. We want to be the very first investor you bring on before the angels are even ready. So we want to take the most risk.
Awesome. You want to take the most risk. Great to know. Great to know that, and amazing work you are doing in the ecosystem, Ida. Thank you. Jesse.
Yeah, hello. So same with Ida, we are taking big bets, big risks, investing as early as possible. And similar to both Hendricks, I am myself a recovering software engineer or entrepreneur, so to say. And nowadays, I'm a partner at Icebreaker VC, and we invest in software-driven startups at the idea stage. Usually pre-product, pre-revenue, but having revenue doesn't hurt, of course. Average ticket size is around 650,000 euros. We can do up to 1.5. And we have been doing this for 8 years, have 130 companies in the portfolio. work with over 400 founders. So we have seen the journey quite a few times. So we know for sure what not to do, but more importantly, we know what to do, and we can support the founders in the pre-product market fit phase very well, and also help them to the next steps, whatever those might be. So actually looking for investments here in Sweden. We have done 4 from our newest fund so far this year, looking for 30 more.
Awesome. And great to know that you also go pre-revenue and pre-product market fit. So that's great news for some of the very early stage startups who are here or will be later listening to this on the network. Thank you, Jesse Mekar.
Thanks, Naimul. Does everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Fantastic. I just moved into a new office and apparently the air conditioning is still working at full blast. I'm freezing a little bit here. Yeah, fantastic to see this panel. I think this is like a dream panel for the founders where people are trying to take the most risk, and then there are recovering founders here. So I think it's going to be a fantastic session. So my name is Mekar. I'm the CEO for Venture Cup Sweden, which is Sweden's largest national competition for startups and business ideas. Panels like this is something that we do almost on a daily basis. We work with very early stage and idea stage founders. We started some 27 years ago at the initiative of McKinsey and Company, together with Gothenburg University and Chalmers University. And today we are a national organization with offices in Northwest, East, and South of Sweden. Our competitions go throughout the year. We have had almost 30,000 entrepreneurs since 1998 who competed at Venture Cup, including big names like Lovable, Mentimeter, Very Bites, and yeah, many, many more. And almost 18,000 startups that competed at Venture Cup. So we are the largest national competition, and our competition is going to open once again super soon on the 4th of September. So I hope to see a lot of founders at the early and idea stage to come and start with us. We're a very, very easy platform to give that first push. So good luck to everyone pitching today.
Awesome. Great to see your work in the Nordic ecosystem and Venture Cup. Thank you so much, Mekar. Let's have a few more introductions. Pia, over to you. Per Björklund first. Yeah.
Yeah, hello everybody. I'm Per Björklund. I work full-time as an angel investor since 2018, and I do that together with my business partner Stefan Lindeberg in our joint company Further Than Capital. And I think most of you in the panel already know me. And we invest in tech and deep tech. We invest in very early stage up to, shall we say, pre-seed, something like that. And we often go in, not always, we also do just plain angel investments, but we often go in when there is only 2 founders and a PowerPoint, and then work very, very actively with the companies, meeting them weekly or bi-weekly or so.
Awesome. Love that. 2 founders and a PowerPoint. I'm just creating ICPs here, like for everyone who is saying something, what's their ICP? So 2 founders and a PowerPoint. Great. Amazing to hear that, Per. Pia, over to you. Okay, I think we lost Pia, so we'll come back in a minute. Rita, let's go with you.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. As Per said, some of you know me already. My name is Rita Anson, and I'm representing here Nordic Ignite. We are a small angel fund based in Iceland, but also investing in all the Nordics. I'm representing here also Nordvall. In fact, we are now in our last Tuesday gathering. So if you hear some voices on the background, it's my colleagues, investors, talking about cool opportunities. So at Nordic Ignite, in the last 2.5 years, we have invested so far in 9 cases. We are also in the early stage. So our aim is to fill the gap in the early stage investment. We invest only in the Nordics, and we prioritize sustainability, but also gender equality in our investments. That means we try not to invest if there is not at least one woman in the funding team or in the management team. And that's why also I have another hat, that is I'm also the co-founder of Women Investors Network Norway. So women on the top of the priority on investments if possible, beside other things. Yeah, so this is me.
Thank you so much, Rita. Great work in entire ecosystem. You're also on the board of IBAN, as far as I know. So, no, lot of hats. So, great work you're doing in the ecosystem. Sami, over to you.
Thank you. And you become very humble when you listen to all these great panelists, actually. But anyway, Sami Wikbak, I founded 8 Media Ventures like 4 years ago together with 3 partners. And we at 8 Media Ventures, we invest media for equity. So the model is that we invest media, premium media, to grow especially your brand awareness and also to get your traction and top line growing. So that's something that we do in both Sweden and in Finland. So companies in those countries can be within our portfolio. Done plus 10 investments so far. Of course, given that we work with premium reach media, then it's often direct to consumer companies that we focus on, especially, but we can also do B2B. But I always say that why shoot with a shotgun if you want a sniper and find some decision maker? So that's why we say that D2C preferably. And a short advice, I think I almost say it every time, but to the ones presenting their idea, please keep in mind that, okay, the panelists, as you heard, they're great people and they're very smart, but this comes from me at least. Please keep it simple because it might be the first time you hear it. So think of it as a trailer that you're presenting and not the full movie.
Trailer, not the full movie. Great point. I actually met one of your portfolio companies yesterday, Catch Me. Oh. Great work they're doing. Thank you so much, Sami. Tina?
Hello, everyone. My name is Tina. I'm representing here 600 Finnish business angels. I'm running the FIBAN, one angel network, which is actually one of the biggest in Europe, 15 years old. And our members have been investing already almost €500 million in 15 years. And I have a corporate background, startup background, and defense background myself. Now we are making a survey among those companies who have been pitching in FIBAN in 1.5 year time, and already they have received more than 42 million euros. Not all of those money come from our angels, from VCs as well, but they've gone through our deal flow process and pitching in our events. So if you are interested in searching or looking for funding through FIBAN, just take a look at our website, fiban.org, and apply for funding.
Amazing. Great work, Tina. You have been in a very interesting panels. So we really love your work in the ecosystem, the way you're lifting the entire angel community. I think FIBAN is doing amazing work in the entire ecosystem. Thank you. Pia, over to you. Let's see if we can hear you this time.
Yes, I had to relocate in the exact same second. It was my turn to present myself. So I am the general partner of a venture company called Feminvest Ventures. We invest in the Nordic companies, in Nordic countries, pre-seed, seed, Series A. We also have fresh money to deploy. Our niche is that we focus in women-held company with a majority ownership of women, and our aim is to change this percentage. I'm sure you are all aware that only 1.5% of the venture capital goes to female founders today. And finally, we have the opportunity to actually make a difference. We have met so far already 700 female founders, and it's been an amazing journey to follow. And we have already invested in a few companies. We are quite new to the market. We have before a community for investors, but also a community for entrepreneurs. So you can check these communities out if you want to develop your companies or your angel investments. My background is that I'm an entrepreneur myself. I founded a company within the IT consultant segment. I founded it many years ago. I'm a sole founder, and I scaled it to 400 million Swedish crowns, SEK. And I sold it 2 years ago, and now I'm going to work with these investments instead. And I'm so much looking forward to meet all these entrepreneurs. It's something I'm very passionate about.
Awesome. Great to have the energy in the room. We will go very fast now with the entire process. We have 9 startups here, and the way we will work is the purpose of the session is to give startups an opportunity to pitch and present their case. And of course, we can also give them very rapid feedback. So we will compress the presentation time to 3 minutes, 3 minutes pitch feedback time. So anybody who has to give feedback, it really needs to be very rapid. Hi, I think your TAM was not expressed correctly. You could approach it like this. Next one. So short feedbacks, and it doesn't need to be that everybody gives a feedback, but we'll try to limit 3 minutes plus 3 minutes format, and we'll try it for the first time in Nutty Ventures. Then if it scales, we'll bring out a format in a month's time on how that will work. But let's go. I'll request our first round of startups to come in now. Let's see. I'll paste the list here because I started pasting some other stuff as well. I pasted, yeah. So we are going to start with Daniel, and then my fan, you can also be here. But Daniel, we are bringing you up first. So when you enter here, tell us, hello, I'm Daniel, and how do you feel today? I'll say that again.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Daniel. You are the first one to go. So how do you feel?
Super excited and very nervous, to be honest, especially with this panel. But okay. I'm ready.
Very good. Let's go. Let's
do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So I'm Daniel, and I'm the founder of Lab by AI.
Wait. Share the screen.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
No worries. First time is okay.
There we go. You can see it, right?
Yeah, we can see it. Let's go.
Let's go. All right, I'm Daniel, and I'm the founder of Lab by AI, a tool that helps you track, analyze, and improve brand performance on AI search platforms. Today, 28% of all searches are answered by AI. And this is from just 3 years ago, when there was no answers by AI at all. And it's estimated by 2030 that over 90% of all searches will be answered by AI. It's clear that AI search is replacing traditional search, and marketing teams and agencies don't have the data and tools to act yet. Lab by AI is built exactly for this shift. We give marketers the data they need, but also the next step, what to do with the data, and actually create content that will make them rank higher in AI-based search. The TAM is 10 million large and mid-sized companies and agencies, and I expect to capture 37,500 within 3 years, and this is based on the momentum of my competitors as well. And the business model is a simple SaaS with 3 tiers and some add-ons to add extra LLMs to analyze and extra domains and prompts. So what's our go-to-market strategy? We're focusing on medium-sized online B2C businesses, because usually they are dependent on organic SEO traffic, which is currently trending down, actually down 35% in only the last 6 months and continuing trending down. And they need to start adapting to AI search pretty much now. So the team is just me for now. I previously founded a company called Factor 20, and I'm actively looking for a co-founder. I'm asking for 650,000 euros, and that should give us a runway of 18 to 24 months with a burn rate of 25,000 per month. And that's to spend on an engineering team, a tight 5 to 4 person team. I expect to break even in 6 months, and this is again based on competitors and on how fast they've been growing. And the break-even point is 250 customers, and that's very reasonable according to my competitors at least. If we reach this goal in 3 years, that's a really good return of investment of 103 times. Join us in becoming the first Geo Toolkit unicorn. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Pitching within the time, like that's a first from our side. A quick note for and for the startups as well. Once you have presented, you can take off the screen. The main thing also for the panelists is that we will present these cases. So short feedbacks. That's how we will proceed. So Per, starting with you, then Pia, and then Philip.
Yes, hi Daniel. Interesting, very interesting area you're working in, and I personally see this growing field as well. And I'm happy to tell you more about what I can see there and why. Just one quick detail of feedback. When you show the TAM Samsung slide, that is not measured in numbers of customers, since we don't know the value per customer. It's measured in cash actually, so it's euros or SEK or dollars, whatever you like. But the number of customers doesn't tell us very much. So just alter that slide. But I'm very interested in hearing more about what you're doing. The time is too short for that, so please reach out to me, and we will talk more about this afterwards if you like.
Will do, Per. Thank you.
Thank you. Pia. Okay, we lost you. So maybe Philip.
Very interesting domain indeed, Daniel. I suggest that you also highlight a little bit what's unique with your product and competition, right? For people that don't know the domain, who are your main competitions and who are maybe both incumbents and newcomers in this domain? And secondly, like you talked a little bit about like 67 million, 67.5 in 3 years revenue, but tell us how you will do that as well, right? Otherwise, it just becomes you just showing numbers, but show us a little bit of the execution plan as well. But well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sami?
Yes, thank you. Philip stole my point. That's okay. That's okay. But I was curious about competition. What is your moat? What is your differentiator? That would be really interesting to hear about. But otherwise than that, very interesting. And I start to think about some of our D2C companies that maybe we should have a talk after this meeting.
All right, I'll reach out.
Thank you. Makar, we have 1 more minute for the startup.
Yeah, well, Philip stole my question too, and then Sami stole my response to that question as well. I was also curious about the competition. Daniel, you're in a very saturated market, so I think it's wise to spend a couple of seconds in talking about how aware you are of the other players in the market and how you're different.
Very good points. Ida?
Gonna keep it quick. I would love to hear something more from your customer or current customers. And please reach out to me because I also have a potential portfolio company that could be a good match to collaborate with.
All right. Will do.
Awesome. Pia?
Yeah. So stupid I couldn't be the first to say because I was talking about the competition as well. I think I'm saying it anyway because it can't be stressed enough. You are mentioning all these competitors and you're not mentioning anything about how you're different with them. So I think you really need to do that. And it was exciting to hear about, and I love the fact that you are an entrepreneur from start, and I think that's really good that you brought that up because it's valuable information.
Thank you, Pia.
Maybe one thing that how you came up with that valuation.
Yeah, it's based on. I've looked at a lot. Do I have time to answer?
We have run out of, so maybe you need to think about that. We'll move to the next startup. The next startup was Veriment. Somehow we can't seem to see them here. Okay, you're here. My fan, thank you so much for being here. How do you feel?
Yes, great. Thanks for giving me the opportunity.
Awesome. Let's go with your pitch.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen. Can you wait? Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi everyone, and my name is Mai. I'm the founder of Veriment. Did you know that lack of communication in health and social care can be costly and can lead to wrong diagnosis? conflicts at work, burnout, and as a result, organizations in health and social care face high churn and poor patient quality. I know this problem because I experienced it myself. This is my grandfather before he passed away in 2022, and at this time he had late-stage cancer and dementia. And in 3 months, we have 4 different nurses to take care of him. They all communicated differently. Some of them did not understand how it was like to have dementia and cancer. And current methods are not so adequate. Courses and workshops in training of communication are costly, not scalable. You can do role plays to practice conversation with a coworker, but it may not be practical. And you can try VR solution, which is expensive and not accessible for everyone. So using my experience in business and technology, and together with my co-founder and CTO and our advisory board in healthcare, AI, and research, we built Variment, which is role plays to assess and improve communication and interpersonal skills of staff in health and social care. Let me show you how it works. There's a library of which you can have different situations, whether it's a coworker, patient, or patient's family members. You then have a conversation with an AI in the situation and then receive feedback on your communication skills. We evaluate feedback based on our own proprietary models using validated framework. Our customers are private and public organizations in dementia and psychiatry, and we have annual fee or fee per user depending on the customer needs. And we help them save at least 50% of costs in training. Currently, we are testing with 3 pilot customers in Norway and over 100 users, and we have received positive feedback from them so far. We estimated that in Norway alone, there are around 1,600 organizations that would be potential customers, or a market size of 344 million crowns, and we aim to achieve 28% market share in 5 years or 96 million crowns in ARR. And we are doing so through events, direct referrals, and sales. And later on, we plan to partner with other organizations that are already selling to these organizations. And beyond Norway, we'll be looking at the UK with a market size of 2.6 billion Norwegian crowns. And after that, we'll look further into the Nordics and the US. We are raising 6 million to achieve this outcome, from scaling the team, product launch, and achieve our revenue target. Generative AI is here to stay, and we are already seeing policy to push AI to be adopted in healthcare to reduce costs and improve productivity. We are supported by Women Tech EU and organizations, so join us. So scan my QR code and email address. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maipan. We can start with a quick feedback round now. Let me just see if everything is working on this side. Yeah. Yes, Henrik, and then Pia.
Hi, Mai. Thank you so much for presentation. Love to hear that one. I just missed in the pitch deck. I think you should have the metrics that you talked about. How much time do you save your customers time? Then we can do the ROI calculus. So a little bit more on that in the deck. Maybe I missed it. If I did, I'm sorry. What else? Customers. You mentioned you have customers. If that's correct, it would also be fair to have that numbers. I mean, how much you charge them, each customers and stuff like that. So a little bit more numbers in the deck. But otherwise, nice to hear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you. Jesse, I saw your message about, so if anybody is having trouble finding Zoom bar on Zoom, you need to find a button called React, but Zoom is always changing. So if you cannot, you can just raise hand like this and we'll bring you in. Pia.
So the time for the feedback is so short, but since you are a female founder, I suggest you kind of connect with me after this session and we can talk more. I think it was lovely to see the picture of your family. It's always very good to make like a personal connection to the aim of your project or your entrepreneurship. Thank you so much.
Very good point on personal connection, Per.
Yes, hi, Mai. I think that I take one detail here for you, and that is the market size, where I see that your business is quite niche, right? And also probably it's much like you train them once and then you give them a lot of training first, and then maybe it's tricky to retain them year after year, unless it's for a very small volume. So I doubt really, I allow myself to doubt the size of the market and that will really be your possible revenues. You might be right, but please go through it once again.
Very
and
good
really
points.
scrutinize.
Henrik and then Jesse.
Hi, Mai. I really like the presentation. I think you kind of nailed, especially the 3-minute format. I actually think that the way you structured the market makes quite a bit of sense, where you start with one market and add more geographies. I think that was well done. And I would assume that there's some new people come into these roles in healthcare organizations, which might not be entirely clear if you're not a specialist in the field. But really interesting, and would love to talk more later.
Thank you.
Thank you. Quick one, Jesse.
Yeah, I was not raising my hand for this one.
Okay. Okay, very good. Perfect. Thank you. We wrap that up. Thank you so much, Mai. And I'll request Ursulaya to bring her pitch. How are you feeling, Ursulaya? Let's see. We can't hear you. You need to open the mic.
Sorry, excited. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Let's go.
Great. So, hi, I'm Orshi. I'm an architect. I've been working in the architecture, engineering, and construction industry, also called IAC industry, for the last 10 plus years. And I'm here to present Archie. Archie is using machine learning to solve the most expensive blind spot on the IAC industry: fragmented knowledge, rework, and regulatory risk. We're wasting more than 1/8 of the sector's total value on preventable errors. And this affects everybody because mistakes can lead to catastrophe. And professionals who lose money with every delay, and the environment with 37% of the global carbon emission coming from the industry, IAC industry. So how do we keep control today? Every design phase requires manual checks against documents and regulations. And every time we change something, we have to start all over again. This is extremely tedious and time consuming. So how do we solve this? With Archie, an AI-driven SaaS platform that allows you to be in full control of your project at all time. It integrates into existing workflow, collects all project data, predicts and prevents issues, and coordinates updates instantly. We're building an AI brain, a layered system that grows step by step. Each step is a new product, adding customer value, generating revenue, and locking users to Archie. Our first MVP, the regulatory assistant, is live on archieknows.com. We are testing it with 20 plus pilot users. We're currently the regulatory assistant is evolving into a full project platform. And the next project is QA assistant integrated into the architect software, launching soon. Our most direct competitors are niche QA startup. They are only solving one slice of the workflow, and Archie transforms the entire workflow. Our 3-year projection is 100 million ARR before even expanding into adjacent markets, with reaching 5% of architects and 1% of engineers from Europe and North America. So founded in May, we had 60 plus interviews. We have 4 LOIs, 2 MVPs in. We're bootstrapping while securing some of Norway's largest architecture firms and in early talks with value-add investors. We are planning to raise in about 2 to 3 months, which will enable us to scale across the Nordics, onboard engineers, and add material intelligence. And want to build investor relationship first. Why us? Persson brings the technical expertise as a full-stack developer with experience in AI integration, product development, and building scalable SaaS platform. Our advisor, Henrik, is a product expert with 10 plus years in startups, and I bring domain knowledge, user insight, technical knowledge of architecture softwares, and the vision to transforming the IAC workflows. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anders, and then Philip.
Thanks a lot. I think it was a slick and a great presentation. Sort of starting from the back, you have very, very ambitious sort of revenue or traction goals, right, within a couple of years. They might make a lot of sense, but in order to sort of build up some credibility there, I would double click a bit on the traction, right? So you mentioned that you have a couple of pilot customers. I would double click a bit on that. Who are they? What's their feedback currently? What's the type of value you actually create for them, etc. So we as sort of investors can try to figure out whether the ARR target is reasonable or not. Otherwise, good. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Philip.
Very good job today. It comes across very clearly that you know this domain, and this is very good. It builds credibility, but sometimes it has a slight disadvantage in a sense, like your audience might not be as good as you in this domain. Like it started, for example, you should have in the slide what AEC is. Many people are not going to know that. Like it's very like good because I was like, okay, should I Google it? That's one. And as part of that, you should simplify. Like when you talk about sort of the brain, what the product does, I mean, I didn't understand exactly what you do. It comes, obviously, I don't know the domain, but try to show that in a simple way, how you're solving that for people who are not familiar. Adding to Anders's comment with your sales numbers, again, just tell us a little bit more specifically your go-to-market, your customers that you're going after, and how you will execute that so that it feels a little bit more realistic. But anyway, great job. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ida?
Thank you. Really good pitch. And I'm going to build up on what both Anders and Philip were saying about understand, like, you know a lot about the industry. For me, it wasn't really clear exactly who is the actual customer. Even though you talked about you have a few pilot customers and so on. So more information about the pilot customers and the actual customer, I would have loved. Thank you.
Thank you. We can take one more feedback. Henrik?
Sorry. Yes, thank you so much. Great presentation. I love this field. We just recently did an investment in a construction tech company, so I have a lot of experience in this. I would love to see a little bit more elaboration about how the market is. How will this fit into other tools like Autodesk and the big players, so to say, and what will make you stand out and not Autodesk going down, so to say. I also think that you have to explain a little bit more about the design process. 10 to 15 years, is that an ongoing process for the construction tech? For me, it sounds very, very long, but maybe you have, if it's the fact, then just elaborate more on that one in the deck. But I would love to hear more after this. Thanks.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you, Ursula. Thank you for a very
Can I make a super quick comment? Very, very quick.
Very short. 10
the
seconds.
name Archie is fantastic. You did, you nailed it. It's very clutter breaking.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll request Theo, if you are here, you are next with your startup. Theo, we can't see you yet.
Can you see me now?
Yes, we can see you now.
Great.
How are you feeling?
Thank you. Yeah, great. Thank you. Nice to be here. Hi, everyone.
Let's go. You can share the screen and we can start.
Share my screen.
Yes, let's go.
Right. So, yeah. Hi, my name is Theo, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Eneron. So we have developed the world's most energy efficient compressor, which reduces energy consumption for industrial compressed air by 37%. And we currently have 4 granted patent families. We already have 1 machine in operation at Stora Enso, and we're currently preparing the next delivery for Höganäs. The 3rd machine is sold for delivery in 2026, and we have an additional 17 customers who have signed expressions of interest. And so with our product, we are essentially setting a new standard for energy efficiency and sustainability in compressed air. So why does the world need this? Well, because compressed air is a resource that the industry cannot live without. And compressed air currently accounts for about 10% of the world's industrial electricity consumption. So the world's industries consume over 1,000 terawatt hours of electricity per year to produce compressed air, resulting in over 500 million tons of carbon dioxide. And the electricity bill for the industrial compressed air exceeds over 150 billion euros a year. And the main problem that we are addressing is that the majority of all this energy along with billions of euros, is wasted and turns into heat in today's inefficient compressors. And so the key here to saving energy is to not create unnecessary heat. And we have found a way to do this where we use water and gravity instead of using metal components and a lot of extra power as in conventional compressors. And our method is quite simple. So by rotating water and air in a spiral, we build up height differences, resulting in pressure differences, and we achieve an exceptionally high energy efficiency. And at the same time, we reduce the need for maintenance since water doesn't wear and tear over time. And here you see a cost comparison to a modern traditional compressor. And as you can see, the main cost is electricity. And so this is where we truly create value for our customers. And so the customer, they buy our compressor, a 400 kilowatt unit for 1.2 million euros with a payback on investment in about 3.5 years. And they save millions on the lifecycle cost. And so the global industrial air compressor market is valued at about 54 billion in 2030. We are targeting the stationary segment and are currently focusing on the low pressure and medium power segment. Here you see our team. And Naimul was founded in 2017. And now we've worked on adapting the product for series production and distribution across Europe. And I'll move on to the next slide to look ahead a bit. So next year, we will launch our market-ready product, followed by our first series of machines. And so we're currently outsourcing all production. And the final assembly will take place close to our office in Halmstad, in the port industry. And the machines will be distributed on trailer and initially focusing on customers in the Nordic countries and Europe. And to support this phase that we're in, we plan to raise 4 million euros to deliver 2 400 kilowatt compressors to the customers as agreed. We will convert a number of letter of intent into orders and completing the product designs for series production and start preparing for market entry. We are Naimul, the world's most efficient compressor. Thank you.
Thank you. That went over by 1 minute, which means you'll have 1 minute less in feedback. But let's go, Jesse, first you, and then Henrik.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the introduction here. Is like in general, it's crucial to get people hooked and not maybe thrown into some big names and customers without even knowing what it is. So just wanted to comment that on the introduction, like focus on good story or narrative or something, just so we can get kind of pique the interest to what's to come, who the names are you're working with.
Very good point. Henrik?
I completely disagree. I think the first intro was really good. Maybe that's like being in Sweden and the brand's really resonating, but I think it resonated and you then gave the image of momentum with customers and deliveries, which I think was very good. And then I think it was a clear explanation of the technology. I'm not looking at this, not investing in this field, but I felt I understood quite well. Thank you.
Thank you. Anders?
Yeah, I agree. I actually think there's a lot to like here, and thanks for the presentation. I'm not in this field either, but it feels like it's pretty critical, right? You say it's a awesome solution, and that it's pretty simple, right? So it feels like it's super critical that no one can sort of copy it immediately, right? So I would potentially spend some more time on defensibility here, right? You said something about patents and whatnot, but it feels critical for the investment. Thanks.
Thank you. Maybe one more feedback, Pia.
Thank you. Oh, it's lovely when you actually can reduce your environmental footprint and also reduce your cost at the same time. It's not all business models that allows a win-win. I would say it was so much you wanted to tell us at the same time, so it was so fast. You wanted to show your team, but I didn't even see the slide, and then you changed the slide. I didn't even recognize if there were anyone with any background out of that would beneficial. Also, with all it was very gray, the color of the numbers. So even if I was trying to read fast to get everything, it was impossible. So I think maybe you should just cut out a few slides or highlight things that are most important. Otherwise, I end up trying to get everything and I didn't get it all.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Pia. I think great feedback. Theo, thank you for a great presentation. And we move to our next startups. We will request Audrey. Hi, Audrey. How are you feeling?
Hi, everyone. I'm good. I'm a bit stressed, but it's a part of the game.
Okay, let's go.
Here we go. So hi, I'm Audrey Baba, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Loopchain. Every year, hundreds, millions of tons of perfectly usable materials go to waste across industries. Not because companies don't care, but because they don't have the right time or the tools to manage or redistribute these materials efficiently. On top of that, new EU regulations are raising the bar. So what is missing? Action, connection, and collaboration. Loopchain offers a new approach. We integrate seamlessly into companies' ERP system and use AI to frame the data, suggest optimal reuse path to connect to new users. Think of it as a smart matchmaker for materials, cross-industry, data-driven, and fully trustable. And all of it feeds back into a real-time sustainable dashboard so companies can track their impact and actually prove it. Loopchain applies to several industries, and with the sum calculated at 500 million euros, our market penetration strategy relies on starting with the fashion textile industry and construction industry. Loopchain is a B2B SaaS platform mixed with a marketplace. We monetize through SaaS subscription for access waste material management and reuse pathways, but also with onboarding fee based on material volume and company size and API integration, a transaction fee on material matchmaking, and add-on and white label. Our model scales with our customers' circularity efforts, which means that we grow as our customers reduce their waste. We develop our MVP in-house and testing the solution with design partners. We're launching the MVP by the end of 2025. By 2026, we aim to onboard 30 companies, and by 2028, we plan to reach 5 million euros in annual recurring revenue. Now, yes, there are other players in the space, traditional resellers, circular market space, traceability tools, but Loopchain connects materials to demand across industry and in real time. Think of us as the Airbnb of industrial waste materials. We don't just show where the materials are, we make them move. I co-founded Loopchain with our CTO, who brings a decade of experience in AI architecture, and I have myself more than a decade experience in the textile industry and entrepreneurship. We are also supported by consultants in sustainability with Kara and system integration with Yeni. So we are now opening our 500k euro seed round to finalize and scale our MVP with the launch targeted by the end of the year. And this round will support a run rate from 18 to 36 months, enabling us to onboard our first 30 enterprise clients and position Loopchain in entry marketing and early revenue. So if you are excited about the future of AI and the future of circularity with AI, let's get in touch. And thank you so much for the opportunity to pitch today.
Thank you, Audrey. Sami, and then Philip.
Yes, just shortly, thank you for the presentation, Audrey. I would love to see anything, if you have anything to show about the solution, that would be valuable for me to see. I understood that it's Airbnb for waste material and so forth, but I would like to see some something also about the product. I understand that it's early stage.
Thank you, Philip.
I mean, very similar. Again, you build credibility, your experience in the domain, which is a very good thing, but you have to make it more clear, really, what is the problem? Like, again, we all understand, okay, circularity in this domain, very important area, but what is really the problem that you're trying to solve and how? I mean, going back to what Sami said, like, I did not understand what your solution or what your product is.
Thank you.
Thank you, Per.
And my feedback goes on the same subject. It's important to realize that today sustained tech startups aren't as hot for investors as they used to be a year or two ago, and therefore you must be even more specific on what you're doing. To me, a use case, just a user journey to explain this is Lisa. She has this problem. She's now doing this and this. That would have helped me a lot. To me, it leaves me in a too fluffy explanation of what it was. But don't give up. Go for it.
Thank you so much, Per.
No.
Yes, Pia.
Yeah, that was too fast. Well, I think the problem is, I think it's brilliant. I mean, I think the problem is very clear and the solution as well. But you were talking about like a use case. Maybe you have like a pilot case you can kind of describe. You were mentioning some logotypes in the bottom of one of the slides. Maybe we can hear a pilot case. And also, I would recommend you to contact me after the session, and I can give you more feedback since you're a female founder. I think it's brilliant.
Thank you, Henrik.
Yes, thank you, Audrey. Nice presentation. And I just struggle a little bit with the numbers you presented. You're raising 500k euro. That will give you, according to the deck, approximately 36 months runway. That leaves us that you're in 2028. And at the same time, you say that you will have an ARR of 5 million euro, and that will make you break even. I mean, if you have like 5 million now, 5 million Swedish krona to spend for 2028, then you must do that on low cost. So if you hit the ARR 5 million euro 2028, you will be highly profitable. Not even break. I mean, it will be really, really, really profitable. Or you have a lot of costs that are affecting your company 2028. So I don't really. Maybe you should just take a little bit closer look on that one. But otherwise, thank you.
Right, just to like.
Thank you. Thank you. A very quick one, Henrik.
Yeah, it's on the similar thing. So sometimes we see a lot of this, and to me it stuck out like you raised, even if you raised 500 now and 1.5 later, you would get to 5 million. I think venture capital this is very capital efficient. What's really going on? So that's probably for the next 57 minutes of a busy meeting to kind of deep dive into.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Audrey. Dave, you're next. We have our last 3 startups now. I think I need to check. Dave, you're next. I'll check my list in the meantime. How are you feeling?
Good night. I'm actually ready for the challenge.
Okay, let's go.
So let me know if you see the screen.
Yes, we see this.
Hi, this is Ben. Look at his face. This is the owner of an electric vehicle, and he's upset and looking in the line to charge his EV. And this is a parking facility. They are full and have limited space for EVs. Now, fixed charging stations mean underused parking spots that petrol vehicles can use and cause congestion when demand spikes. Hi, I'm Dave, and I'm the CEO and founder of Roll. So, well, let's talk about electric mobility challenges. Did you know that Europe aims for zero net emissions by 2030? At the same time, the charging infrastructure in Europe is growing slowly by around 35% per year. Yet, the rapid growth of public charging points faces regulatory, investment, and technological obstacles that are slowing down the progress. So what we have are underused and standalone solutions, parking facilities that are losing revenue, and charging operators and municipalities with high infrastructure costs. So what we have, Rolly, is a mobile charging robot that empowers the electric mobility industry by bringing charging directly to the EV. We're removing the limitations of fixed charging stations and optimizing space and cost for everyone. With Rolly, we're transforming the flexibility, efficiency, and accessibility of EV charging. So in 2 sentences, we can charge any EV, anytime, anywhere. So we're focused in software, but we need to touch hardware. We're designing the robot and building it with different components from sensors, batteries, and cloud computing. For the private EVs, the solution is to charge it with a 30 kilowatt power battery. We're using 5G and edge computing to process the data on the cloud, along with real-time communication between the robots, batteries, and vehicles. So how it works, you need to pre-book a charging station, park your vehicle, The robot will arrive to your spot. Then you need to get out from the car, take the gun, and start charging. And that's all. You can check through the web app, app.rolly.com. In our business model, it's important we're not selling the robots. We're actually licensing them for 36,000 euros with another license. Additionally, we have a charging as a service model from 10 cents per kilowatt hour, which is from 1,000 euros per robot per month. Also, we have a branding monetization opportunity where the customers can monetize by displaying ads on the robots. Our path so far, we advanced in pilots in Finland and agreements and receive a lot of feedback from the market. We signed 5 letters of interest, and also we are in conversations with charging operators in Portugal, Spain, and Saudi Arabia. We're part of the MBA Inception program, and we also receive grants from Google for startups, AWS, and Microsoft for startups. We're a strong competitive team with experience in robotics. Our CTO worked for Tesla. Also, we have experience in autonomous cars, 5G, cloud, and backed by mentors from NBC, Universal, and Ocado. We're looking to close our pre-seed round of 850,000, which will help to increase our sales, marketing, partnerships, and finish our IP in cloud, VSLAM, and 5G. We're also looking for piloting with charging operators, parking facilities, and municipalities. So yeah, thanks, and welcome to the revolution of autonomous charging robots. Welcome to Rolly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Per.
Here we go. Hi, Dave. I think we've been in touch before. And for me, I don't know if others think like I do, but for me, it's very easy to find, like, find 5 errors, find many objections to why this might be tricky or won't roll. And if that is a common reaction that you meet, then you have to provide firm evidence of customer validation, because customer revenues beats everything. So if you can just show that you've made your first million here and more are to come, then people will want to invest. To focus on showing that would be my advice, and just work on that.
Thank you. Anders?
Yeah, so sort of aligning with that, I think one way to do that is to conceptually maybe look at sort of an entire parking lot, for example. So one alternative would then be to sort of have charging spots on each sort of parking spot, right? Which is then, I guess, super expensive. The other option would be to just drop that completely and have your robots instead. And then you would sort of compare those 2 use cases from sort of a entire parking lot kind of an example, and then see that your offering is way more cost efficient and maybe user friendly and whatnot. Because I agree, it's not completely intuitive to see that this is the right type of a solution, rather than just sort of having a socket in the wall. Thanks.
Thank you, Philip.
Very interesting, Dave. I mean, just a little bit on what Anders mentioned, but you should probably also highlight your customer's business case, right? Like, again, if they're spending, was it 16 or 36,000, apologies there, but like, then what's their business case, right? How long payback time they have with the revenue that they might potentially make, just so that you can validate. It seems like, of course, like shopping malls or closed parking lots seems to be the target segment. Are there any other use cases? Like, if you look at beyond that, you plan to sort of have any other customer segment or use case? And the other thing is, since you're producing, I assume, these things yourselves, I mean, what are your volume or sales expectations, let's say, over the next 2-3 years? And then how will your both the capital need and the delivery of these vehicles, like if you have to sell 10,000 of them, let's assume, how will you do that? How will you produce these things, etc.? Just give us a little bit of a bigger vision as well.
Thank you.
Or bigger picture, sorry.
Ida, quick one.
I'll be quick. I love the picture to actually see the actual product. That was my first thing. The second thing, I would love to know, are there anyone doing anything similar to what you're doing, and how will you protect your solution? Is there any IP connected to it? So that will be an add-on. Thank you. Really, really cool.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much. Next is Litech. Thank you, Dave. Sine, it's over to you. How are you feeling?
Great. Thank you for asking.
Amazing.
Can you hear me good?
Yep, let's go.
All right, let's go. Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Cindy Savard. I am the CEO and co-founder of Litech.
And in LeTech, to say it very short and sweet, we prevent waste plants from going boom. So in the waste stream, we can find a lot of metals that shouldn't be there. Some of them can be very precious. Others can be very hazard and dangerous. What is common with these metals is that they are very often hard to distinguish between. That's why we have developed probably the most intelligent metal detector in the world to be able to do so. And if this had been in place 3 years ago, the most modern waste plant in the world would probably still be operational. So we have developed the simplest yet most effective sensor system to prevent fires in recycling plants. The sensor is easily installed beneath assembly lines at sorting stations for waste. It sends and receives electromagnetic signals, and when a metal is present, it will reflect back a fingerprint that is so unique that when we apply AI, we can distinguish between even specific metal combinations. For instance, right now, we are training our algorithms to differentiate what is the alloy of stainless steel and titanium. It's 90% stainless steel and 10% titanium, which is the exact alloy of laughing gas bottles. Laughing gas is a growing concern for Oslo municipality, which last year lost about 4.2 million euros due to explosions in the plant. We have, together with our fantastic team, effectively demonstrated that we indeed can remove these laughing gas bottles from the waste stream and save the plant for potentially 4.2 million euros yearly. We've had revenue since year one, and in total, we have raised or earned around 400,000 euros in revenue with 150,000 euros annual recurring that we just signed a couple of weeks ago. We have raised about 1 million in funding from investors and additionally 800,000 from governmental grants. We are now launching our seed round to go to market and make our product industrial available for the whole pipeline that we have built the past 4 years to build up. So if you want to learn more or just like to talk trash as I do, please reach out and let's have a chat.
Sorry, my mic had a problem. Yes, Henrik and then Pia.
No problem at all, Naimul. Thank you, Sine, for a great presentation. We always love some humor when you present. That shows a bit of confidence and emotional feelings. I think that you have to elaborate a little bit more in your pitch deck, the numbers. How big is this problem? How many customers can you sell to? Because that is for me totally unclear. I don't know how big this problem is. So a little bit more on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Your presentation. Yeah, I'm starting. You told me I was right. Yeah,
yes,
thank
yes.
you. Okay, well, it's thank you so much for your presentation. It seems to be quite a niche solution for a very specific target, and I'm a bit curious about your background, how you ended up with this solution, and I think that would be something you can add into the pitch. Thank you. And you can connect afterwards, please.
Yes, let's do it.
Yeah, I agree. It seems like a niche solution, even though it's super interesting. And given that the first thing sort of an investor thinks about is a market big enough to solve for, right? Gut feeling is that it clearly is, right? It's probably tens of different use cases for this super advanced kind of a sensor. But then I would spend some more time on painting that picture, right? That this solution can be used in a couple of different aspects or in different industries, and hence have a massive potential.
Thank you,
Sure.
Anders. Sami?
Yes, same, a little bit the same thing, but it would be really interesting to hear a story about a disaster that happened, because it's a disaster probably when it goes boom. But then, okay, we could have prevented this, and then you have a very good case already for showing that what you are actually solving, and maybe that disaster, that boom happening, is something that we all investors also have heard about, which makes it even more compelling to want to listen to the full movie or see the full movie. Take the next meeting.
Thank you so much, Sami. We have 2 more startups to go. Yes, Per. Thank you so much, Per, for being here. And thank you, Sine. Let's
Thank you.
move to our next startup now. Valencia, how are you?
I'm good. I'm excited. How are you?
Very good. Let's go.
Yes, I'm just gonna put up my deck here and tell me when you see it. Do you see it now?
Yes, we can see it. Let's
Okay, great. So every time someone clicks buy, a hidden evidence of finance works begins. Fees, taxes, payouts, ad spend. What if the entire evidence can handle itself? I didn't come from accounting. I came from politics. Later, I tried e-commerce myself and failed. That failure showed me the real bottleneck, not selling products, but managing the financial chaos behind them. I saw it firsthand with my brother, an e-commerce founder, and my sister, an accountant. Every order meant endless reconciliation and delays. Legacy tools were built for corner cafes, not 24/7 global commerce. Commerce has moved online, but the back office is still back in the 90s. So I built the first version myself with e-commerce and accountants. One API plugs into every sales channel: Shopify, Amazon, ad platforms, payment rails. And from day one, our system automatically sorts every order, fee, payout, books it for you, and shows you a real-time overview of your cash. Next, we are building AI CFO, forecasting cash flow and offering one-click financing, and agentic task flows with cross-border VAT billings automated while you sleep. The global e-commerce automation market is 30 billion. Our serviceable segment is 8. Our initial focus is Shopify and WooCommerce merchant, a $300 million opportunity. Our pricing model is simple. Plans start at $10, Pro is $109, and Enterprise is custom. We land small funders early and scale with them as they grow. We don't spend on ads. We grow through partners. E-commerce courses with 200,000 founders per cohort, and accountants specialized in e-commerce. Onboarding 10 to 30 merchants each. This model gives us low CAC, high trust, and near to zero churn. Hundreds of channels has already connected to Scandic Books. We are raising 1.4 million seed. This round gives us 20 months runway, and this is how the funds will be divided. So 40% will be on product, 30% on sales and marketing, 15% on customer success and support, 15% on legal compliance and operations. This gets us 400 to 600 new merchants and 3K RRR within 12 months, and that's when we plan to reach break even. So our team blends product operations and go-to-market. I'm Valencia, CEO and technical founder. Niklas has 25 plus years on running operations, and Gustav leads sales and partnerships. Together with incoming CTO and advisors in finance and e-commerce, we're built to win. I started this because I saw the bottleneck holding back my own family. Today, it holds back millions of merchants. So, in simple words, we're not just automating books. We're building the financial backbone of global commerce. If you think the storefront wars are won, look backstage. Finance is the next frontier. And let's make the back office disappear. Thank you.
Thank you. Anders?
Thanks a lot. I think it was a really good presentation. I'm actually on the board of a couple of e-com companies, so I know that it's a hassle even as you scale, way north of millions and millions of dollars in turnover. it's a competitive space. It's very complex and complicated. So maybe I would spend some more time on how the product works, how you differentiate, and sort of the uniqueness as well. But it's an interesting space, and if you want to, I would actually sort of be happy to chat more afterwards. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Anders. Henrik.
Yeah, I can only concur to that. Great presentation, great energy. I think you're aiming for a big problem that has to be solved. You can do that in many different ways, but you're addressing one of them. I would love to hear more about it later on, so please reach out. Great presentation once again. Energy takes you so long, so keep up with that one.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any further feedback from the panel? All right. Thank you. And we move to our last presentation of the evening. Akash.
Thank you. You saved the finance people for last, Naimul. Yeah, looks like it. That 7 a.m. call was definitely worth it, right? Do you see my screen in its perfect aspect ratio?
Yeah, let's go.
Perfect. Yeah, redefining what AI agents can do in finance. Some of the smartest people I know in finance, academic, analytical, happen to be drowning in a lot of dumb work. Knowledge work has reached a point where 70% of the tasks are repeatable or involve a lot of manual reading for some reason. What we do, spending countless hours manually processing thousands of documents to extract critical insights, the world's knowledge happens to be mostly unstructured. Repetitive manual tasks instead of focusing on high-value strategic work. For example, in private equity, there's a cost of operational excellence with this. Our solutions can extract complex data sets, and with complete transparencies, we integrate both with the firm's internal and external data sources, allowing users to analyze thousands of documents simultaneously. Our domain-specific custom LLM is tailored exclusively for finance. A small language model, efficient on compute, and significantly faster than the industry standards. I'm Akash, the CEO, a 3x founder doing the 0 to 1 journey here at a unicorn in Sweden. My co-founder Maria is coming from a hedge fund. Hemant is coming from the European Investment Bank leading AI. We are the right team to build this. Price. What is the price of automation of global management consulting, or price of automating financial services in the Big Four? That is the size of the market we are targeting. Raising $20,000 through friends and family, we launched our first version 8 months ago, being #1 on Product Hunt, onboarding 150 or so analysts and signing LOIs with a bunch of banks. We're now building with the experts, a tool to retrieve enterprise data with accuracy and much wider data coverage and audit trails. Currently talking to M&A teams in the Big Four in the Nordics and private equity firms with AUM well over $80 billion to help them track portfolio companies, finding insights in M&A deals, and cut due diligence times by more than 80%. Our competition is building yet another chatbot with subpar results based on RAG. The value generated isn't really about telling what's in the data, but what's more interesting about the data. Deep relationship first, we're going top down, a consulting mindset with a SaaS solution on top of it. We're building with our prospects. Vertical AI deeply understands domain specific knowledge is the future. That's where we're betting. It has grown over 1,200% in the last year. Our focus is to strengthen the team and deepen AI expertise, expand how we reach markets outside of the Nordics in Central Europe and UK. We're currently signing commercial orders in Q1 2026, skyrocketing our revenue to more than $1 million ARR. Join our mission, building the future of vertical AI in finance, and let's kill dumb work for good. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Akash. Philip?
Akash, nice to meet you again. It's always good sort of to see the improvements and the traction. I think since you're targeting a very broad area, I think it's important to give a sense of what specific problems and what specific areas of that whole market you're starting with, right? It's difficult to get that because again, it's clearly this is a big domain. There's so many things, but it's difficult to understand what is really your core focus, right? That's what I would just highlight, that you make it a little bit simpler and a little bit more clear. And again, I mean, naturally you have a lot of slides, but you went also relatively quickly, so then it's difficult maybe to just take a bit more time on some of more the important stuff.
Fair point. Thanks.
Thank you. Any more feedback from the panel? Please feel free to jump in. Yes, Anders.
Yeah, so we met before. Nice to see you again, and happy to see that you seem to have a sort of started to fill up the pipeline. I think a way here could be to take a specific sort of customer use case. So this is the company X. We have these 3 people working there. This is what they do on a daily basis, etc., etc. Because as I think Philip said, if you're sort of not from the industry, it's somewhat tricky to sort of really feel the pain that the customer feels, right? So I think you can paint that picture a bit more clear. But anyway, thanks.
Totally fair. Thank you.
Thank you, Anders, for the feedback. I saw one hand up, but then, yeah, Henrik.
Yeah, that was just me, Naimul. Akash, I like the presentation. I honestly, I see the problem. I see that you can save a lot of hours, and hours means money. So I would like to hear some more about this one. I think that you have got a nice team, look like perfect background to do this. So please reach out and we'll have a chat. Thanks.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
I will, Henrik. Cheers.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Akash. I think that's the end of the show for today. A big thanks to all the panelists and all the community that joined the entire evening today, starting from our keynote and our panels and down to our pitch live stream. A big thanks to everyone here. I know Per left here at a 19:45 appointment, but Anders, Philip, Henrik, and Ida, Jesse, Mekar, Pia, Rita, and Sami. Thank you so much. Tina, of course. So thank you so much for being here. It was great.
Well done, Naimul. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Have
you.
a great evening, everyone.
Thanks all.
Thank you.